7, BBC Radio Oxford Sport building up to kick off in our commentary game tonight, which is from National League North. It's Woking against Oxford City. Kieran Bushnell and Andy Gate are there. Kieran.
Yeah, and Saturday's sickening defeat to Kidderminster is still fresh in the memory, but this evening's clash with Woking gives Ross Jenkins the side the perfect opportunity to perhaps to put it right against the side with the worst home record in the National League this season. Woking have won just once here at the Laithwaite Community Stadium, and that was way back in August, and hopefully that will mean City can possibly turn things around, although City's away record, of course, is pretty woeful itself. Just 2 wins on the road, and that was Dorking and Ebbsfleet, although the Ebbsfleet game, of course, was a 4-0 victory for Ross Jenkins' men. Jenkins has made a couple of changes to the side that lost on Saturday. Harry Birtwistle coming in for his debut. He's a left-sided, attack-minded player. He's on loan from Wolves. And also Alfie Potter returns to the starting lineup for Ross Jenkins' men. On the bench, Giles Phillips, Lewis Coyle, Harvey Greenslade, Rennie Smith and Aaron Williams-Michelle. So they've got some attack-minded players on the bench. For Woking, well, they've made a couple of changes from the side that lost here on Saturday. Ricky Corboa and Curtis Edwards coming back into the Cardinals starting lineup. And as a familiar face to some Banbury supporters here, Dion Kelly-Evans, who signed here just a couple of weeks ago, he makes a start. He's a left-sided midfield player, quite lively with his feet, and City will look to try and keep him quiet if they possibly can. It really is a crucial game this evening. The rain was initially quite heavy. It's just eased off a little bit, and the crowd is pretty sparse at the moment. Obviously, we still have 15 minutes to go, but City really desperately need to pick up all 3 points here this evening if they want to at least have an opportunity of getting themselves out of trouble. It's Woking versus Oxford City in the National League.
Cheers, Kieran. I'm just thinking of Oxford United's last visit there in the FA Cup, which was like a water park. It was like a splashdown every time a player went down. So hopefully it isn't like that tonight. You're with BBC Radio Oxford Sport. We've got coverage from the Southern League for you tonight. Division 1 Central. Tame United looking to pull away from trouble at home against Waltham Abbey tonight. And Colin Ride's watching that one.
Yes, indeed, Jerome, and it is a rough old night here at Tame as playoff place Waltham Abbey come to Tame tonight on the back of beating Kidlington 2-0 last Saturday. That result left Kidlington one place above Tame United, who occupy the penultimate relegation spot in the Southern League Division 1 Central. But only goal difference separates Kidlington and Tame. So if Tame win again this evening, as it did beating Stotfold 2-0 on Saturday, then Tame United would ease out of the relegation zone and, not to put too fine a point on it, drop Kidlington into it. Jason Hallett and Benjamin Barker scored Waltham Abbey's goals on Saturday. They start this evening for them. Last Saturday's goals from Tame Oscar Lucy and Harry Alexander helped ease Tame's relegation battle. They also both start for Tame this evening, along with Archie Davis in goal, Finley Murray, Ethan Locke, Tyler Lawson, Harry Riley, Oliver Hogg, Jefferson Louis, Ryan Knight, Ellie Goth and Harry Alexander. On the benches, Louis Fontaine, Pierce McNamara, Benjamin Kingbo and Matthew Harriott. Tame have won 4 out of the last 5 games. Their manager Ben Williams will be hoping to make it 5 out of 6 this evening. It's a relegation battle as Tame United hosting promotion playoff hopefuls Waltham Abbey. 7:45 kickoff, Jerome.
Thank you. And given the weather, we're telling you right now, Plymouth Parkway against Didcot Town, that's been called off 3 times so far, has been called off tomorrow as well. Due to play tomorrow in Devon, that game is off again. At least Didcot will know not to set off to that one. BBC Radio Oxford Sport, and it's 7:34 right now. Let's talk about the Oxford United women, who are going brilliantly just now. Club captain Leah Burridge, one of 3 players who've signed contract extensions with the club. Burridge, along with experienced fullback Shelley Provan and midfielder Kate Wiseman, all agreeing new deals until the summer of 2025. Now, United have got a massive match this Sunday against the leaders Portsmouth, as they aim to make it 8 straight wins in the Southern Premier, or the National Premier South. Carla Buckingham asked Shelley Provan how she was feeling after signing that new deal.
Yeah, really good actually. Yeah, it's come at a really good time. I think we're in a really positive part of our season at the moment, and the prospect of being with the club for another season and a bit is really exciting.
What made you decide that you want to stay on? Was it the run that you're on, or were there lots of different factors?
Lots of different factors. I think the main one, Sam Rose coming in and making some quite significant changes to what we're doing, and the impact that he's had on us as a team on and off the pitch has been great, and I can only see that getting better and better and more professional, and that was a big part of it. The girls, a huge part of it is, you know, the group that you're around, and for me it's having a family, having a job. It's got to be enjoyable, and it's a great group of players and staff.
I mean, you mentioned the girls, though. There have been quite a few new additions to the squad. Most notable is Zoe Barrett, who seems to not be able to stop scoring at the moment. It's phenomenal form she's in. But how important is it to have secured the experienced players such as yourself, Leah and Kate for next season?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, it's great that Zoe's scoring. I mean, that's exactly what you want from your striker, and she's gaining more and more confidence, and her performances are, you know, getting better week on week. But yeah, I think, you know, the likes of Zoe are feeding off the experienced players really well, taking on board advice and just playing with players that have been in the game a bit longer. I think, but we're learning from each other, you know, we're learning from the youngsters as well, and how well they're playing, their fitness levels, their sharpness on the pitch is something that's boosting our technical work on the pitch at training as well.
So have you seen a notable difference since Sam came in? Has everything kind of stepped up a level?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think the intensity at training, the attention to detail, the want to improve us as individuals as well as a team has been really evident.
And you guys suffered a stuttering start, I think is the best way to describe it, of the season. But look at you now, you've put together a run of 7 wins and you've shot up the table. Is there any one thing you can point to that helped change things around, or has it been a series of things?
I mean, the start of the season was tough, you know, not have a manager, and then having a manager that wasn't necessarily going to be in long term was quite hard. And I think a team needs consistency to be able to perform, a consistency in training, consistency in terms of expectations on and off the pitch. And I think that's what we lack. You know, we haven't got a huge amount of difference in terms of our players, but I think the way we're playing and the unity that we've got now is what's made the difference in this part of the season. And
it's a great time to find that winning form, because this Sunday you welcome the league leaders Portsmouth to the Royal Charging Stadium.
Yeah.
And they're the only other team in the league to have won their last 5 games. So how are you feeling heading into that match?
Yeah, we're optimistic. It's nice. I think the pressure's off us, which is nice. I mean, because of our start to the season, nobody expects us to do anything in the league, and I think that's quite a nice place to be in. There's no pressure on us. I mean, we put pressure on ourselves because we want to win every game for the rest of the season, but that's something that's, you know, within the club. We're not expected to win, and we've just got to go out there and perform in the way we have done with the same confidence, and just hope that we can get a result, really.
And especially, you say no pressure on you guys, because last time you came up against Portsmouth, it was in that stuttering part in September.
Yeah.
They came out 4-0 winners. Do you feel they're now facing a very different Oxford United this time round?
I hope so. I think they'll see and be facing a very different team, a much more organised, determined and together team compared to what they faced last time.
Brilliant news for the Oxford United women. Big game for them on Sunday. Now, tonight we're with Oxford City away at Woking. Let's hear from Canis Carroll, who thinks there's not much wrong with City's performances just at the moment, but they need to sharpen up in both boxes.
We've been playing well, which we have all season, and there's not been a game where there's only been a couple of games where we thought we've been outplayed, but we've kind of been our own worst enemies at times. Against these teams that are down the bottom, I think we probably should have picked up a little bit more points than we have, considering how we played.
It is still quite tight down there. 1 win and it suddenly can change everything. 5 points from safety. So, you know, you can claw yourselves up that table with a couple of victories pretty quickly.
Yeah, we know we've got that in us. We've known it all season, because when we played against some of the top teams, we've been very good. But we know that at some point it will change. We played against teams last season that were down the bottom of the table and dropped points against them. It's always possible, and when we play against teams, they know that it's just whoever wants it more on the day.
As we've been hearing, City surrendered a 2-0 lead to go down 3-2 at fourth bottom Kidderminster on Saturday. Ross Jenkins, the City boss, calling on his senior players to come to the fore and show their leadership qualities. And he revealed to BBC Radio Oxford's Simon Watts that he's been speaking to those players individually in the last few days.
A few boys making the calls yesterday and today. I've got a few more to do today. For me, it was a bit of maturity. The game was there for us. They didn't cause us any real problems between the boxes. We scored 2 good goals. Limit them to pretty much nothing. But then, the crowd, 3,500 fans start making a noise. And I think that damaged us. You can see it on the pitch, a little bit of maturity to rise above that. Some of the goals, the goals are the goals. They're avoidable, 100%. We haven't been beaten by any sort of real magic. And that's probably the story of the season. I've said it many times to Andy Gate after games. If we get torn apart, I can accept that. And it's something to work on. But the goals we're conceding, these are individual bits. These are lack of sort of concentration in fine moments. And at the moment, it's the fine details that are costing us points. So structurally, no problem. The errors, the second goal, can the goalie get his hands on it? Yes. Does he tap it in unopposed? Yes. Can someone be with him? Yes. So these things we can all sort of avoid. But between the boxes, listen, we've been good value. We can score goals. We score goals. But we need to make sure we're more clinical defending our box. And I think when we do that, we'll be totally fine. So definitely an area to improve is defending our box. And if we do that, as I said, I've got no problems with what we're doing.
You beat them 3-2 only back in November. I mean, it was a crazy game, couple of goals in injury time, but there have been quite a few changes at Woking since then, a new manager coming in as well. So I guess you can't read too much into that game a couple of months ago.
No, they've got new bodies. They've added some good talent. They've got some freshness in the group. But so have we. So we've got to play on that as well. We know it was a big shift at Kiddie. We know it's going to take it out in the boys, but it's our job to go again. The boys who didn't play may feature. The boys who did start may be on the bench. We've got to rotate a couple bits. But in terms of where we are, again, we've got to concentrate on Woking. They are dangerous, but if we just replicate what we can do each week, but make sure we're better in both boxes, then we've got no problems. If we take anyone lightly, you get bitten and you get rolled over. So I don't think there's a weak game. There's no game that we're going to take for granted. Every team is in this league for a reason. They deserve to be in this league like we do. If we take anyone lightly, we'll get rolled over. We went to Kiddie and we put on a real solid performance first half and we tried to replicate it. But I personally think the fans were a big part of their success. We need to rise to the occasion. We need to man up and the characters need to come out in those moments because it does get tough. But Woking would address it just like we've done with Kiddie. It's another big game. Every game's a big game in this league. It's physically hard, but we need to keep sticking to what we're doing because we're not far away. Few of the goals we can prevent. If we do that, we'll be totally fine. But a bit more focus on ourselves this week.
Oxford City boss Ross Jenkins, and we're not far away from kick-off. Live commentary on Woking against Oxford City is live next.
Every kick, tackle and goal.
And Parker cuts inside. Parker's in here. And City have made it 4-0.
All the action is just moments away.
And it's been taken. All the goals running in.
Banbury United, champions of the Southern League, Premier Division Central.
And we are underway.
This is BBC Radio Oxford Sport.
This remains one of the toughest processes around.
On BBC iPlayer,
I need you to create a virtual escape room.
The Apprentice is back.
So excited to be here in Budapest.
I want you to launch a new Formula E team.
Every second counts!
You lost me money.
Sorry, guys. Shush. Just tell the truth.
You've been using crumble. The fish cake.
You kidding?
The Apprentice.
You're fired.
Continues Thursday on BBC iPlayer.
BBC Radio Oxford on a Tuesday night. Commentary underway. It's Woking against Oxford City. You heard the first whistle. You're hearing the voice now of Andy Gate and Kieran Bushnell.
Well, we are underway here at the Laithwaite Community Stadium, home to Woking, and we have a fantastic game for you here this evening. At the bottom of the National League table, it's the bottom place Oxford City playing in their hooped blue and white shirts, blue shorts, blue socks, as we see it shooting from right to left from our view here in the press box. And the Cardinals in 23rd position, just the one place above Oxford City in the relegation zone, in their red and white half shirts, black shorts and white socks, shooting toward the huge stand to our right here. If you have seen Woking Stadium before, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It really sticks out like a sore thumb here in Surrey. But we are underway here, and the ball is just fluttering between the two players as the game gets off to quite a frantic start. Neither side able to keep the ball for any period of time at the moment, and the referee will just give Oxford City a chance to breathe as Mitchell Roberts will win a free kick and play it short to his goalkeeper.
And Andy, our BBC Surrey colleague, said that something's got to give this evening, hasn't it? City with the second worst away record in the league, Woking with an absolutely dreadful home record, the worst in the league by far, just one win here at the Laithwaite Community Stadium all season. And I predicted, given that, it's probably going to end up 0-0. Let's hope not. But yeah, something will certainly have to give this evening.
Absolutely is. Pretty much the worst home record versus the worst, one of the worst away records anyway, against two teams right at the foot of the National League. In fact, you have to go all the way back to August for the last league win here at Woking. 2-0 victory over Dorking Wanderers. And since then, they've failed to collect 3 points, which has been the real problem between these two sides. Ross Jenkins will be hoping for more of the same stuff of the last meeting between the two teams, when Oxford City came out on top then with 3-2 winners on a really entertaining game when Josh Parker rounded goalkeeper Will Jaskalainen to slot home the winner all the way back in early November. But Ross Jenkins has opted to make two changes to that team that threw away such a solid lead at Kidderminster Harriers on Saturday. Rennie Smith drops to the bench, as does Aaron Williams-Bichelle. In comes Harry Birtwistle for his debut. He's the right wing back for Oxford City this evening, but I'll pause as Nia Kirby does well to intercept the ball in the middle of the park. He moves the ball over to Josh Parker under pressure from Tunji Akinola, the big central midfielder in the heart of the Woking midfield. But again, this game is struggling to find its feet in its early stages. So as I was saying, two changes for Oxford City today. Rennie Smith and Aaron Williams-Bichelle dropped to the bench for Harry Birtwistle, making his full debut on loan from Premier League side Wolverhampton Wanderers today. The other incoming is Alfie Potter, in from the start today. Elsewhere, it's as you were, Marcin Brzozowski keeps his place in goal despite that error that led to Kidderminster's equaliser on Saturday. A real message of faith in his goalkeeper from Ross Jenkins. And then it's Andre Burley who's on the ball now as the right-sided centre half. He's joined by Canis Carroll and Mitchell Roberts. Left wing back Jacob Roddy, Nia Kirby and Reese Fleet sit in front of the defenders as City will press the goalkeeper Alexis Andre Jr. as this game, it's been, like I say, being played at a real frantic pace, but neither team really able to keep the ball for any considerable amount of time. But this could be a chance for Woking to launch an assault on goal, and that's going to be a free kick right on the edge of the box as Ricky Kaboa is brought down. Definitely a free kick. Can be no question about that. There is a Oxford City player down, and the physio is going to be beckoned on. I'm just trying to see who it is. I think it's Mitchell Roberts who's down. Perhaps he was injured whilst making that challenge, but there was no question about it, Kieran. That was definitely a free kick. Bursting run forward by Ricky Kaboa. Looked like he was just about to work his way into the City penalty area, but then was brought down by what looks to be Roberts. And that little chance there has just got the home crowd going here at the Laithwaite Community Stadium.
Yeah, no question it was a foul, and Mitchell Roberts has definitely come off worst here, and he looks in some trouble actually. He is now sitting up, but he was punching the turf with his fist. He is sitting up now. This free kick is pretty dangerous, right on the sort of edge of the penalty area, wide on the right hand side. So it's going to be, I would imagine, a curling ball into the box rather than a shot from here. You mentioned, Andy, while we're waiting for this free kick, both sides struggling to get a foot on the ball. We had a real heavy burst of rain just before kick-off, which has no doubt greased the surface up. But I have to say, compared with the surface that we saw at Kidderminster, it does look a little bit better, this one, because Kidderminster on Saturday was very, very bobbly, and yes, Andy Ballard said it was really hard to get string any passes together.
It really was. It had an effect on the game, whereas Oxford City have been known for their short passing, attractive style of football, really. Couldn't really get that going, but in the first half they really brought the game to Kidderminster. Second half not so much, but the ball was in the air quite a lot. This surface, you're absolutely right, Kieran, is actually quite good. It's soaking up the rain quite well as it continues to pour down here in Surrey. And Mitchell Roberts is now back up to his feet, but as per protocol, he's going to have to leave the field. And defending this free kick, Oxford City are about to, well, they're going to have to defend it with 10 men. The captain, Josh Casey, has gone over to take this free kick. Perhaps he could try a shot, but it's a tight angle as Marcin Brzozowski currently beckons orders to his two-man wall of Alfie Potter and Harry Birtwistle. Referee draws the magic spray. If he could get this in here from this angle, Casey, it would be some strike, but it looks as though, with the way that Woking are set up from this free kick, they're about to float across in. It's only from the edge of the box though as well, so let's see what Josh Casey has in his locker. Left-footed cross into the box and it's put in. It's a good save by Brzozowski, bounces around in the area and it's eventually cleared by Josh Parker. Well, Marcin Brzozowski against Kidderminster made one hell of an error, but that time he may have just made up for it, and he does in fact throw himself at the rebound from Scott Cuthbert's cross into the box. But he's gone some way in making up for that error on Saturday with a fantastic save within the first 10 minutes here.
And it was a double save as well, wasn't it? He got up so quickly from the first save to stop the second shot from going in, but City still have some defending to do.
They do, as here come Woking again with Luca down the right wing, tries to beat one and two Oxford City players, but it's gone out for a goal kick. The referee straight away pointed for a goal kick. The linesman gave a corner, so the linesman changed his decision to goal kick, and the referee changed his decision to corner.
Calamity of errors.
I can confirm it is a corner though to Woking. Taken quickly, left-footed in swinger, headed out by Canis Carroll to the edge of the box, only as far as Edwards. Woking knocking on the door in these early stages here. Here's Luca again on the right wing, left-footed cross straight into the chest of Josh Ashby. Again floated up into the air. City with a little bit of space to work the defence up, inches up the pitch and try and stop this early Woking pressure, but it looks as though they have done that as Woking have the ball back with Casey inside their own half, and just a little bit of an opportunity to breathe, Kieran, because that was almost the first goal of the game if it wasn't for a great double save from Marcin Brzozowski.
I'm going to say that double save will do Brzozowski the world of good, Andy, because he was definitely at fault for the equalising goal on Saturday, but the way he got up so quickly, he's a big man, Marcin Brzozowski, and the first save he forced it away with his right hand, and then he got up so quickly to deny Lewis Walker on the rebound, and really good double save, and hopefully that will give him a little bit of confidence for the rest of this game.
Maybe this start will give the host a little bit of confidence as well. As we were just saying, you have to go all the way back to August for their last win at home in the National League, but they started these first 10 minutes as the better team ever so slightly. It's just those couple of opportunities we've had in the last few moments in this game at the moment as we tick into the 10th minute here. It's Woking 0, Oxford City 0 in this massive clash at the bottom of the National League. Birtwistle does well to hold off his man and play the ball back to City's goalkeeper Marcin Brzozowski. He clears it up the field and Woking can't quite control that ball, and it bounces out for an Oxford City throw in midway through their own half on the far side of the pitch.
I'm just looking at Mitchell Roberts. He seems to have shaken that off, and that's good news. It looked like a pretty heavy blow he received there when making the challenge on the edge of the box, but he is back on the field and seems to be moving pretty freely.
And of course, with that new ruling as well, well that's come into play this season, that a player can't come back onto the pitch after, I think it's 30 seconds or so. City did have to do a lot of defending after that free kick with just 10 men, but that's an error from goalkeeper Andre Junior. Jacob Roddy will pick up the loose ball. That was sloppy from the Woking shot stopper. It's a different goalkeeper from the last time these two teams met. Of course, Will Jääskeläinen, son of former Bolton Wanderers goalkeeper Jussi Jääskeläinen, made a mistake that led to Josh Parker's goal, and here come Oxford City, but the ball from Josh Ashby looked to find Alfie Potter behind the back line, but it was just a little bit too powerful for the City midfielder to run onto, and this time Andre Junior will spray the ball out with his right foot over to this right hand side as Woking look to continue to find the opener. Here's Scott Cuthbert, the veteran centre half, formerly of Luton Town, was a big part of their rise up the league and the football pyramids. But here's a good chance for them again. Denon Lewis, beats the offside trap. Right-footed, floated cross into the box, but it's another great save from Brzozowski. Fingertip save to punch the ball across goal, and it's hooked away eventually by Canis Carroll on the far post. Well, wow, Marcin Brzozowski's well in the thick of the action. Looking at that save, I thought perhaps maybe he could have caught it, but maybe I was being a little bit cynical there. But nevertheless, it was a very good save from the Polish goalkeeper.
Yeah, it was crucial again, wasn't it? He tipped it. Yeah, he's a tall man. He possibly could have caught it, but he decided that discretion was the better part of valour there, and decided to get a punch to it instead. And that's 3 really key saves that he's made in these opening 10 minutes, and that will do him the world of good. But we don't want to see too many more shots on goal. We want to see City create something, because at the moment, I have to say, it has been all Woking.
Already it is. 12 minutes in, Woking knocking on the door in this game. Here's Luca, ball through, looking for the on-running Kaboa, who looks like he's going to be a real thorn in Oxford City's side this evening. He's making some bursting runs forward from that central attacking midfield role, if you like. But at the moment, he's not been able to find his way past the City defence, and an inspired Marcin Brzozowski, who, like I said just a few moments earlier, is putting the wrongs of Saturday right with a couple of decent saves in this game. And to be fair, I actually didn't think, apart from that horrid error for the second goal, he had too bad a game, Marcin Brzozowski. But that's the great thing about football, really, in these lower divisions, not so much the Premier League, is that sometimes you have a bad game on a Saturday, there's a Tuesday game just around the corner to concentrate on, and like I say, put the wrongs of your last performance right, and he seems to be doing that now. Oxford City's job now is to get that ball from the defensive areas up the other end and start launching attacks at Alexis Andre Junior in the Cardinals' goal. But at the moment, they've not been able to have a shot. He's not been called into too much action just yet, the Cardinals goalkeeper, but perhaps we'll see an attack here as Andre Burley takes a throw in from the halfway line, down the line, flicked on. Josh Ashby looked like he was about to latch onto that ball, but Scott Cuthbert took no chances with it, hooked the ball all the way back to the City back line, and now there's a chance for them to build with Jacob Roddy, keen to get the ball into the Woking area. Brilliant ball across to the right hand side of the pitch by Nia Kirby, helped on by Parker to Birtwistle, making his debut today. Crossing by Birtwistle, it's a good cross. Alfie Potter rises highest, didn't quite connect with the ball as well as he would have liked. As you know, Alfie Potter, not the tallest man on the pitch, but he did rise over his marker there to flick a header towards goal, but it bounced quite easily in the end into the arms of Andre Junior. But that's the first sniff we've really seen of Oxford City in this game, Kieran.
Yeah, it could have done with anybody other than Alfie Potter on the end of that, because he's probably one of the shortest players on the pitch, but he did strain every neck muscle to try and get his head to that, but didn't quite manage to do so. We were talking about Brzozowski, and while making that mistake, of course, he picked up a pretty bad shoulder injury, didn't he? He had a lengthy treatment on Saturday with a shoulder after that mistake, and there was some genuine concerns that he might not be able to continue, but he does appear that he's shaken that off, and with those 3 saves, he's certainly been very mobile so far.
He has been, but meanwhile, another foul midway through the Oxford City half, and it's a free kick to Woking again, this time from a little bit further out, a little bit more central, but another chance to float across into the box. Curtis Edwards has put his name on this free kick. Once again, Marcin Brzozowski will arrange a two-man wall. Again, Birtwistle and Potter, the men in that. Maybe, just maybe, he may be tempted to have a crack at this, Curtis Edwards. There is a little bit of space to the right of the wall. There's also a Woking attacker just lingering there. He'll opt for the cross. It's not a bad cross. Headed away by Canis Carroll. And Josh Parker takes absolutely no chances with it and lumps it up the pitch and out for a Woking throw within their own half. A little bit route one, but it did the job. And Oxford City in these first 15 minutes are being made to defend to keep the scores at 0-0. Woking continue to try and work Ross Jenkins' men. 3 points could be absolutely massive for them. 3 points for Oxford City wouldn't get them out of the relegation zone, but it would lift them back into contention with the other teams in and around them that just threaten to run away from Oxford City this season. 3 points, absolutely massive in the survival chances as this mini league continues to hot up at the bottom of the table. Here's Roddy now, left-hand side, plays the ball to Kirby, manages to work the ball out of a tight area and back to Mitchell Roberts. Brzozowski now plays it short and back to Roberts, and Woking will start to press. Again, a long ball forward, but not very well dealt with by Woking there, and Josh Ashby, picks up the ball in the middle of the field to rescue possession for City. Perhaps now we'll see them get the ball down and start to play a little bit more football and work their way up the pitch. Goes all the way back to Brzozowski. Brzozowski, no hurry to play it long. Big touch from Nia Kirby that almost ran straight into the path of a Woking shirt, but nevertheless just managed to rescue it before it did. City regain possession, continue to work themselves up the pitch. Potter jinks away from his man, will burst forward. That touch is too heavy. Cuthbert back into the path of Potter, but he just manages to shrug off the City man. But City again continue to play with the ball. Shouts from the bench, the Oxford City bench, and Ross Jenkins telling his team to get higher, start to play the ball further up the field, try to take the game to their opponents. Starting to move the ball a little bit better now and bypass the Woking press. They are very keen to press under Michael Doyle, the new manager. In fact, in the last game, it was between the two, it was Darren Sarle's last match as manager. But that's a good ball from Parker, looking for Birtwistle, who'll make a dart for the byline. Just a little bit too much on that ball from the City striker, but Birtwistle there showing a real turn of pace to try and get to that ball. Didn't quite get there in the end, but very nearly did.
Yeah, no, he's obviously he's an attack-minded win-back. I think that the surface just allowed that ball just to skip on a little bit, didn't it? But Birtwistle was in a foot race with the ball and very, very nearly got to the ball before it went out of play.
Certainly is. It's really zipping around, but Reece Fleet has just missed out on a 50-50, and now Woking will burst forward now over onto that left-hand side, and Denon Lewis did really well, the former Wealdstone man, to travel with the ball through from his own half to midway through the City half. But when he looked to link up with Lewis Walker on the left, he just ended up kicking the ball out of play for an Oxford City throw-in. As this game starts to come alive here, really. Like you say, Kieran, the ball really zipping about. That probably will suit Oxford City. Another 50-50, this time won by Josh Ashby. Jacob Roddy hooks a left-footed ball over to the channel, kept in by Scott Cuthbert. And now Woking again will knock the ball around the back. Still 0-0 here at the Laithwaite Community Stadium in the National League. Really big day for both of these clubs. It's 0-0 in every other game in the National League so far as well. Ball hooked on by Woking. They're playing some really neat stuff and they're playing with confidence here, the Cardinals. Ball over to the right wing with the lively Jaden Luca. Has an option on his right with Dion Kelly-Evans. Ball across. Goal cut out there by Roddy, and City will come away with the ball, and Josh Parker did really well to hold up the ball, but right behind him was Scott Cuthbert, the Woking captain, who goes all the way into the back of the City striker and wins a free kick, which is quite useful for City because every time that they get the ball and start to play their intricate passing, as soon as they do that, there's 3-4 Woking shirts behind them with the high press that Michael Doyle, the former Coventry player and Portsmouth captain, has got them to play. That's the way he's got them to play like, as Cuthbert is very much leading by example in this game. Again on the ball, right-footed pass, looking for an option, but only finds the feet of Nia Kirby. Now City looking to get going here, down the left. Fleet to Ashby. Ashby looking to try and get past Akinola. Fouls him. Free kick on this near side. It's a really gritty game here, isn't it, Kira? It really is struggling to get going. Some small fouls keep being committed. Not really. Bit of a stop-start game, isn't it?
It is, and it's very similar sort of to the Kidderminster game on Saturday. The sort of the pensive sort of atmosphere in the ground at the moment. It's I think with both sides struggling so much, particularly the home side having not won here since August, you get the feeling that there's a little bit of tension in the air again, and we said this on Saturday, but if City can get their noses in front, that tension may turn into frustration, and if they can, it's been against the run of the play at the moment, if they can get their noses in front, it's whether or not they can actually hold on to that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, they had to do the similar, didn't they, on Saturday, Oxford City, but they bode their time, and when they did, it was just one simple move in the end that led to the first goal, a really well-worked move. The second goal, a penalty, again, a bursting run forward, but Oxford City just trying to keep themselves in games at the moment. In fact, the last 6 defeats, there's only been 1 goal in it, so although the results haven't been going their way, they're not getting thrashed. They're still in games, Oxford City. They're not down and out. Although Saturday's result would have really felt like that to the Oxford City players and supporters. But they're just struggling a little bit to get going here. Ball down the left, again looking for Denon Lewis, goes shoulder to shoulder with Andre Burley. Burley gets his final touch on the ball. Corner to Woking, over on that far side, right in front of the what looks about 60 or so travelling Oxford City supporters here on Tuesday night, packed in the corner of that massive stand behind the goal. Don't think there's any other way of saying it. And now another free kick given away sloppily by Nia Kirby. Taken quickly, but the referee isn't going to let them take it quickly. And it looked as though they were just about to work that into the box with that quick free kick. So City perhaps saved by the referee's whistle. But nevertheless, another chance for Woking to float a dangerous cross into the box here. Again, it's Curtis Edwards who've gone over to take this free kick, and everyone is up from the back this time, with the exception of Dion Kelly-Evans, the former Banbury and Coventry City man, as Kieran alluded to before. So a free kick here. Another chance to test Marcin Brzozowski in the Oxford City goal. Just waiting for the referee's whistle. Blows it. Right-footed cross into the box. Flicked on towards the back post. And there was the outstretched leg of, I think it was Akinola, who almost connected with that cross and flicked header, and if he did, he perhaps would have just tapped it in. That time Brzozowski was nowhere near it, not through fault of his own, but just the trajectory of the ball. And Woking continue to pose a threat to the Oxford City goal.
Yeah, these deliveries into the box have been really good so far for Woking, and City will need to make sure that they deal with all of those, because one of those crosses is going to be met by a Woking player.
Well, especially in that second half. Keep talking about it. Perhaps the City fans won't want me to, but it was really unrelenting pressure as the game stopped again. Jacob Roddy goes down holding his head. The Charlton Athletic loanee looks like he's in some pain here. Just waiting to see. I think he's just winded. The referee's just holding his chest to make the gesture to the bench that he's just winded. Perhaps just taking a little bit of a blow there.
Yeah, I think he did.
Gets up slowly.
Got a little bit of a whack in the stomach area, I think.
Yeah.
Totally a 50-50 ball. No foul at all, but he's looking a little bit uncomfortable. But just winded, I think, and no treatment required. And City have a throw-in, and it's with Mitchell Roberts. and Can City start to launch something of their own. Roberts launches it up the line towards Parker, but it's headed away by Scott Cuthbert, and it's out of play now for a Woking throw, just down level with the edge of the Woking penalty area. Dion Kelly-Evans tries to steal a few yards. The referee, Ryan Atkins, says get back, and Kelly-Evans does get back, and he then finds Luca back to Cuthbert again. Cuthbert right-footed clearance up over the halfway line. Woking still in possession, but good defending there from Reece Fleet. Just shepherds the ball out of play, allowing City to get numbers back behind the ball. Still Woking 0, Oxford City 0 here at the Laithwaite Community Stadium, but it has been predominantly Woking in the ascendancy so far in this game. 26 minutes gone. And as I mentioned, a little bit of a pensive atmosphere. The rain comes and goes here, and 1 minute we're getting a heavy burst of rain, then the next minute it eases down, but that's certainly making the pitch a little bit lively, but no sign of the waterlogging that happened in the last time Oxford United came to this ground. It's not that bad at all, and it's a good surface, to be honest. Kirby wins a header in the air. Reece Fleet does likewise, and a little bit of a scrappy tussle down in front of us, in front of the home dugout as well, and it's gone out of play for another throw-in to Woking, midway inside the Oxford City half of the field. All the games in the National League so far are goalless, apart from Altrincham Dorking, because that one was called off earlier on. But all other games in the National League are level at 0-0 at the moment, and likewise here. Can Oxford City finally get some opportunity themselves? Birtwistle tries to get round the skipper Josh Casey, but doesn't do so. Casey shepherds it out for a throw-in, and then play on advantage there from the referee, because Mickey Corboa went down under challenge. There was no advantage, so the referees brought it back for the free kick. I think it was Alfie Potter caught Corboa, and it's going to be a free kick to the home side just inside the Woking half of the field.
Yeah, can be no complaints about that. Good refereeing, actually, letting the game flow, continue. I thought, from an Oxford City perspective, I thought they just got away with one there, but good refereeing.
Fleetwood have the lead in League One at Bristol Rovers, 1-0. All other games in that league are currently goalless as well. And Woking trying to mount another attack down this right-hand side. Little neat ball into Akinola. Akinola does well to get past two City players, but then Parker comes away with the ball, and then he gets upended in the centre circle, and that's a bit of a cynical one there. I think Parker would have been away there, actually, if he hadn't have had his heels clipped, Andy. And
yeah, I thought perhaps the referee would go to his pocket there, first yellow card of the game, because there was a little bit of a counter-attacking opportunity there. I think Ross Jenkins is just telling that to the fourth official, just wondering why he's not been booked there. Just said a few seconds ago, the referee's letting it flow. Perhaps a little bit too much there. Second half, it's the old adage, yeah. Perhaps in the second half, that's a yellow card.
Absolutely. Free kick to Oxford City then. Canis Carroll over it, just on the centre circle. Jacob Roddy taking up an advanced place position on the left side, and Canis Carroll is eyeing him up, and that's who he's firing the ball towards. But in fact, it goes towards Parker, and it's headed clear by a Woking man, Cuthbert. And Dion Kelly-Evans plays the ball back to Cuthbert again. Cuthbert hooks it over the halfway line to Corboa. Good sliding challenge in there from Canis Carroll, who's gone down with clutching his knee there. He slid in to challenge Jaden Luca.
I think that's him done. I think he's got to come off there. He's in some pain. And straight away, Ross Jenkins goes to the bench and says to Giles Phillips, go and warm up.
Yeah, that was a bit of a concern. He is getting up, and he's hobbling around a little bit, but it was a sliding challenge. I think he just caught his studs in the surface there, Andy, and has jarred his knee. Perhaps it's not as serious as we first thought, because he's a tough cookie, is Canis Carroll.
Maybe not, actually. I was just thinking it was really quick, Ross Jenkins, to go to his bench straight away, go and warm up Giles Phillips. Perhaps straight away he just floats a fantastic ball over Josh Parker. Maybe I was completely wrong.
It did look worse than it perhaps was there. I think he must have caught his stud in the surface, Andy, and jarred his knee. And sometimes they hurt, don't they? But they don't necessarily cause any serious damage. Dion Kelly-Evans on the right side, cross into the penalty area, all the way over the head of everybody. And it's going to be Josh Casey trying to keep the ball in play on the far side, and he does so. And Woking just keep in possession. Edwards into the penalty area again, looking for Lewis Walker, but the referee spotted a foul in there, or was it an offside? It's an offside flag, in fact, and it's going to be a free kick to Oxford City, and a chance maybe for City just to take a breath here, because it has been mostly Woking so far in this game. No real chances for Oxford City as yet, whereas Woking have forced 3 top saves from the City keeper Marcin Brzozowski as we head into the 31st minute. Solihull Moors have the lead at Halifax. Andy Wings, Solihull playoff chasing. They're 1-0 up at the Shea. Woking holding possession again there, but this time Mitchell Roberts does really well to steal the ball off of Denon Lewis, but this time I think there's a foul given against Denon Lewis. It's going to be a free kick to Oxford City.
Yeah, I think the Oxford City bench are really not happy with the referee. He's got the decisions right. I think they're just not happy. He's not gone to his pocket. Right. I think the turn of phrase is leaving a bit on him, let's say.
Yeah.
Definitely a foul. Referee gives a foul. City aren't happy that he's not gone to his pocket. Shake of the head from Ross Jenkins.
Yeah, Nia Kirby was asking as well, I think, because that was, I think, the second or third time that Denon Lewis has made a foul challenge, and I think what Nia Kirby was saying was how many times, because that's definitely at least the third. Free kick taken quickly in the end and headed clear. Josh Parker on the right hand side finds Alfie Potter. Potter's being forced backwards though, and he's going to have to go back to Mitchell Roberts in his pink boots. Roberts finds Jacob Roddy on this left touchline, but Roddy gives it away, and it allows Woking to come away with the ball again. And it's Akinola finding Lewis Walker, but Lewis Walker was on his backside there when he had that shot at goal, and as a result it's gone harmlessly well wide, and it's going to be another goal kick to Oxford. It's been a bit scrappy, Andy, hasn't it, to be fair, and both sides sort of maybe struggling to get to grips with this zippy pitch.
Yeah, I think Woking had a really good chance to get forward there. They moved the ball well, they moved it quickly, and if Lewis Walker would have just sorted, I think when he received the ball he was always going to shoot, he was always going to have a shot, but it wasn't the area to do so. A little bit too far out, and he had a man just running alongside him over on the left wing. If he could have just brought it down and helped it on, they could have been in there. But yeah, the pitch definitely helping here, the passing play.
Bit of a cry for a high foot against Canis Carroll there, but the referee says carry on, and Woking back in possession anyway with Cuthbert. Cuthbert first time ball over to the far side to Denon Lewis. Lewis gets the ball into the penalty area, but far too close to the goalkeeper Marcin Brzozowski, and he falls on the ball and clutches it to his bright lime green shirt, and then bowls the ball out to Mitchell Roberts. Jacob Roddy then tries to find Josh Ashby. Ashby under a bit of pressure, but he does well to find Parker. Parker's got Cuthbert just making a nuisance of himself. That's a really good ball from Parker out to the far side to Harry Birtwistle. Birtwistle advancing into the penalty area. Can they get a ball into the box? They can, but cut out really well there by the captain Josh Casey, and it's gone out of play for a throw into Oxford City on the far side.
Brilliant centre forward play there from Josh Parker. It's a really interesting battle between him and Scott Cuthbert, both of those two players going at each other, but he did well to hold up the ball, pinning to his centre half. Cuthbert did well not to foul him, to be fair, and play the ball over to the right. The vision he had there to pick out Birtwistle was good anyway, and City, that's probably the best chance we've seen for them creating a chance. Still not created one yet, but a little bit more attacking threat there.
Yeah, created an opportunity at least to get a shot in on goal. You're not missing anything now, because the offside flag went up against Harvey, I keep calling him Harvey Birtwistle, Harry Birtwistle, the new signing on loan from Wolves. An attack-minded wing back, but he's playing in a pretty advanced position. It's looked pretty lively so far.
Yeah, I think he falls into the same trap as me here. I keep getting Harry and Harvey mixed up. Two new signings, Harry and Harvey. Harvey Greenslade on the bench on loan from Bristol Rovers. He came on Saturday to make his debut, and Harry making his full debut today, and full professional debut as well, because his first game in senior football. He'll probably been sent here by Wolves to get a few strong challenges in on him, a bit more bit more of a physical challenge than PL2 football here for the young Wolves man.
City just holding a bit of possession at the moment, which is good to see. Andre Burley finds Kirby in the middle of the field. Kirby goes back to Canis Carroll, who briefly thought of going back to the goalkeeper Brzozowski, but he changes his mind and instead finds Josh Parker in the centre circle. Parker tries to put Birtwistle away down the right hand side, but it's cut out again by Casey, who comes forward. Birtwistle though picks up the loose ball again and tries to find Alfie Potter, but Cuthbert's going to allow that to roll out for a throw in midway inside the Woking half of the field. 10 minutes to go in this first half. 3 gilt-edged chances for Woking, all of which were saved by Brzozowski. No chances yet for Oxford City, but I get the feeling that if it stays at 0-0 and City haven't created anything yet, you know they will create something, and they just need to make sure they take the chances when they come, because they may be few and far between.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great ball over to the left. Well, I thought it was going to be a great ball over to the left by Walker, goes out of play. But yeah, you're right, Kieran. I was saying just a few moments ago, City have never been, well, not recently, they've never been down and out of a game. They've always found their way back into it. Even at Hartlepool, when they went 2-0 down, they came back into it with a goal, and it was a late 15 or 10 minutes looking for an equaliser, but they just need to keep themselves in it. I remember saying the same thing at the beginning of the season. They just need to keep themselves in games, because they can create opportunities, and when they do, they're good opportunities, and they have players that can put them away. So they just need to keep their head above water here, soak up the pressure like they've been doing, and keep doing more of the same, but perhaps with a little bit more of urgency.
City's opponents on Saturday, Dagenham and Redbridge. They've gone a goal down to Chesterfield, who are running away with the championship. They'll be 22 points clear at the top if results stay the same, with a game in hand still at the top. Now there's a chance perhaps for Alfie Potter to run on to this ball, but in fact it's going to be shepherded out of play for a goal kick by Alexis Andre Jr. Andy Wing's Solihull now 2 up at Halifax. Halifax 0, Solihull Moors 2. Peterborough United leading Exeter in League One by a goal to 0.
Bit of an error there over on that far side. A few gasps of relief as the ball eventually goes out for a Woking throw in, but they were just trying to play the ball around the back a little bit too lackadaisically.
Yeah, one thing we haven't mentioned, we mentioned the rain, which keeps coming in bursts, but it's also a pretty blustery, windy old night as well, so it's quite difficult to control the long passes if it's sort of going aerial, so both sides will need to try and keep it on the deck, but it's been a bit of a struggle so far. Long ball there from Dion Kelly-Evans. Nia Kirby tidies up, but then loses out to Jaden Luca. Luca's in here down the right hand side. He finds Ricky Kaboa. Chance here on the edge of the penalty area, and it's a goal for Woking, and it's the first goal, and it's Jaden Luca from the edge of the box. Marcin Brzozowski was clutching at thin air, and from 18 yards out it's the first goal, and in some ways it was coming. It's Woking 1, Oxford City 0.
Yeah, a little bit too easy. He had too much space to turn, and when he did turn, because he had so much space, he had a clear crack at goal really. It wasn't, the positioning was all over the place, buried it past Brzozowski. He was planted, he couldn't really do anything because he struck that shot with such ferocity. And that might have just given the Woking fans a little bit of a pick-me-up here, because at the moment the atmosphere was a little bit flat. But just like that first goal on Saturday against Kidderminster, looks like it's given them a little boost.
Yes, anything but flat now. It's a good strike, wasn't it, from Luca from the edge of the box. Marcin Brzozowski flapping at it a little bit perhaps, but as you said, he was possibly slightly wrong-footed by it as well. City will have to come from behind, and so far they haven't created anything. Woking, as we've alluded to, haven't won here since August. I know it's a record that Paul Lyon was saying before the game, please don't tell us that, because he didn't want to hear it, because at some stage that's got to change, and will it be this evening?
If Oxford City continue to play like this in terms of their attacking threat, it might just do that. But like I said just a few minutes ago, they need to keep their head above water here.
They really do, and Lewis now has got a chance again on the far side to get the ball into the penalty. He goes back to Curtis Edwards. Edwards finds Akinola. Akinola in turn goes to the right to Dion Kelly-Evans. Kelly-Evans has got Jacob Roddy just tracking him, and Kelly-Evans does well to get the ball into the box, but it's going to be picked up by Reese Fleet, but he gives it away, and there's a chance here potentially for Woking to get another crack at goal. That's a really bad foul there by an Oxford City player. This could be big trouble.
Could be a red.
This could be big trouble because that was not good.
I think he was out of control there, a little bit reckless. I think because the referees let it go, he might escape with the yellow, but...
Yeah, he certainly left his foot in, though.
It's one of them where it could be the yellow card for Canis Carroll. I think with the way he's refereed the game, it's in line with that, but you've seen him given his red. There was no malice in it. He went for the ball, but he was flying into it.
But it's a yellow card for Canis Carroll, so he'll now have to tread carefully for the rest of the game, and this is another free kick for Woking in a dangerous position. A little bit further out this, but it's in a very central position, probably 25-30 yards from goal, and City again have some defending to do. Lewis Walker is over this, as is Josh Casey, who had a crack earlier. Referee just marching out the wall, and it's going to be a 3-man City wall. It's Casey potentially going to take this. In fact, Casey looks like he's walking away from it, so it may well be Walker. And City's 3-man wall is in place by Marcin Brzozowski, 30 yards out there, so this will be a bit of a strike if he's having a crack from here, but it could be a bit wind assisted, Andy, as well, because the wind is blowing quite strongly.
It's not a bad distance as well. If you can get this up and over the wall.
Here we are. Free kick from Walker straight into the hands of Marcin Brzozowski. It was on target, but Brzozowski saw that all the way and he held the ball. And that chance is gone, and City still trail by 1-0. We're 3 minutes to go in this first half. There'll be a little bit of stoppage time for the injury to Mitchell Roberts and the slight injury to Jacob Roddy, so I'd say we'll probably see 2 or 3 minutes of time added on at the end of this first half. Brzozowski clears the ball up towards Parker. Ross Jenkins will be pretty keen to get the team in at half-time, I think, and with no more damage. Jacob Roddy wins a throw-in. Tries to get it going quickly, but Woking get 4 defenders back behind the ball as Josh Ashby tried to get into the penalty area, so Roddy does still try and find Ashby, but Cuthbert's going to hook it clear up towards Walker. Walker, good first touch from Walker. Out to this right-hand side again to Luca, the goal scorer. And this time his passing's let him down a little bit, and it's gone out of play for a throw to Oxford City. It's taken quickly by Jacob Roddy. Roddy moves up the line, tries to cut in field a little bit, finds Josh Ashby. Ashby back to the captain, Reese Fleet. Fleet's is going to be forced back to his goalkeeper again because Ricky Corboa closed Fleet down and didn't give him any opportunity to get the ball forward. And it's back with Nia Kirby in the centre of the City defence. That's a good looking ball for Birtwistle to chase, but it's just going to be overhit, and the goalkeeper, who's had very little if nothing to do in the first half, Alexis Andre Jr., just picks the ball up and rolls it out, and Woking get underway again.
Yeah, I just think Oxford City they need to start moving the ball quicker. When they get the ball, there's not enough urgency. There's not enough urgency to get the ball up the field quickly, catch them out. But I think they need to speed it up. I think Ross Jenkins will be dying for half time. Really, he wants that whistle to go now, just to get them into the changing room and say, come on, let's just get it going a little bit quicker. Just looking at the replay of this Canis Carroll tackle, he misses the ball, doesn't get the ball, goes for it but doesn't get it. Looked like it was like I said again, it's difficult for the referee. He doesn't have the benefits of the replay, but you've seen him given,
we'll call it an orange card, Andy, that one.
Great analogy.
I had lots of those in my time. Not while I was playing, of course, because I was a very well-behaved goalkeeper back in the day. City, can they get something at the end of this first half? Handball there against Dion Kelly-Evans. Roddy played it straight into Kelly-Evans. Kelly-Evans looks at the referee to say there's not a lot he could have done about that, but his hands were in a fairly unnatural position, and the referee's given that free kick. Canis Carroll, square pass to Mitchell Roberts, who seems to have got over the knock that he picked up early in the first half. Roberts advances over the halfway line. He's got Roddy in front of him, but he's going to be forced back to Nia Kirby. Kirby, a square ball across to Canis Carroll in the centre of the field. Carroll right-footed ball over the top, looking for Harvey Birtwas, but headed clear again by Curtis Edwards, and we'll see what time's added on. 4 minutes of time added on at the end of this first. I thought there'd be a fair bit, actually, because there were a few fairly lengthy injury breaks. So 4 minutes to go in this first half, and we've entered that now. City have got defending to do again. Akinola out to the right-hand side to Kelly Evans, the former Banbury and Coventry man. Evans finds the goal scorer Luca. Luca curls the ball in, and that's cleared off the line. City still haven't cleared it. Cleared again. It's hit Andre Burley, and that was another super chance. I don't think Andre Burley knew much about it. The first one was cleared off the line, and Andre Burley got himself into the right position, and there's another chance, and then diving away to the right-hand side, Marcin Brzozowski prevents Ricky Corboa's header from going in. And it's Woking that are ending this half in the ascendancy, and City need to get into half-time, Andy. It's a corner.
They do, but could that be a moment we look back on at the end of the game and think that could be the turning point? And because that really should have been 2-0. It's just nicked off the post, I think, and then Brzozowski saving the second opportunity. Oxford City living life on the edge here.
Corner taken short. Back into the penalty area and all the way across, but all the way across to Luca, and City have some defending to get blocked there by Nia Kirby. Kelly Evans and City getting bodies behind the ball, but they're really under pressure, under the cosh in these dying moments. Casey with the ball over the top. City still haven't managed to clear lines. It's with Corboa. Corboa into the penalty area, headed clear by Canis Carroll, and now there's a chance perhaps for City to break with Alfie Potter. Potter back to Parker, though. He's forced back again. Woking defending well. Kirby's got some space to run into now. He's got Alfie Potter in front of him. He's got Jacob Roddy to his left, who he's going to find. In fact, but he's cut out well by Kelly Evans. Luca gets a little shove in the back. Referee says nothing doing, and it's back with Max Dyche. And then across to Scott Cuthbert, and City will be desperate, I think, for the half-time whistle to blow, because they really have been under the cosh in this game, and it could have very, very easily been 2-0 there. I think you're right. I think the first shot hit the post, and then Andre Burley just was in the right place at the right time, and then Brzozowski made a save. So 3 chances in the space of about 20 seconds. Fleet, Potter tries to set Josh Ashby through, but again he's overhit it, and Ashby can't control that, and it's rolled through to the goalkeeper Alexis Andre Jr., who's had a very quiet first half, Andy.
Yeah, I almost feel sorry for him. He's getting rained on, must be quite cold. Perhaps might start doing a few jogs in a moment to keep himself warm. It's been that sort of game for him at the moment. Marcin Brzozowski, on the other hand, will be wanting a cup of tea and his half-time orange, really, because he's been so busy. And it will need to change in this second half. I'm laughing to myself, but City really need to do better than this.
It's been a very poor fare, it has to be said, and it almost looks as though they're a beaten side, and it's only half-time, but they just haven't created anything in this first half at all. And it can only get better, surely. They can't possibly come out in the second half and not create a chance, because it really has been all Woking. And when you consider their home record, you wouldn't think so, looking at the way they've been on the front foot, and they've still got a chance. We've got 30 seconds to go of the 4 added on. Kelly Evans closed down by Alfie Potter, so it goes all the way back to Cuthbert in the centre of the Woking defence. A square ball to Dyche, out to the left-hand side to Curtis Edwards. Josh Ashby tries to close Edwards down, and does pretty well actually, Edwards there, but Akinola though wins the ball back, but he overhits the ball, and there's no way that Luca was going to stop that one from going out of play. And I think that'll be the last action of this first half, and Ross Jenkins and Andy Ballard have got a lot they need to say at half time, because we need to see better in the second half, Andy.
Yeah, but what I will say is it could be more than 1-0, and it is only just 1-0. Keep City in it, but again we'll need to see them second half performances reappear, because they've been much the second best team in here.
There you go, that's the half-time whistle then. City have it all to do again, Jerome. The half-time score here at the Laithwaite Community Stadium: Woking 1, Oxford City 0.
Cheers, Andy. Cheers, Kieran. I mean, if you're looking at it from a positive point of view, Kieran, City probably should be further behind than they are. And if Ross Jenkins and Andy Ballard can get into them, they're looking at the reverse of what happened at the weekend.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. But for Marcin Brzozowski, it could have been potentially 3 or 4, Jerome. And yeah, that is a positive. It has to be a positive because City can't be as poor as that in the second half. Surely they need to have some fight, and have some character. I think because in the first half it really has been all Woking, and you wouldn't know from looking at the two sides. You wouldn't know that Woking haven't won here since August. They've been on the front foot. They've been dangerous. They've been getting good balls into the box. They've been getting shots at goal, forcing save after save out of Brzozowski and Andre Burley clearing that one off the line. And ultimately, they are lucky to be 1-0 down.
Just watching the pictures remotely here, Kieran, notice that Andy Ballard and Ross Jenkins didn't go straight down the tunnel. They're actually being sat on the bench, continuing their conversation as if they probably can hear you, to be honest with you, but as if they could, knowing that something needs to be done. I think probably at half-time they're considering changes.
I think they may have to, yes, absolutely. They're still in conversation down there. It'll be interesting to see what they have to say, because you heard Ross Jenkins' interview after the Kidderminster game, speaking to Simon Watts, how he said that they need to be in control of things, they need to show some maturity, they need to show some fight and some character. Well, that first half, I don't think that he will have been remotely pleased with what he saw, because it really was one-way traffic.
I mean, yeah, barely a chance really for City. Alfie Potter maybe with a header, and got to say Canis Carroll was maybe a little bit lucky. He had his one of his legs on the deck when he went for a tackle, which got him a yellow card, but equally you could have argued that it was unnecessarily reckless, too much force, whatever you wanted to. It was definitely in the grey area.
I think so. I think possibly the referee was just erring on the side of caution because of the surface, but what didn't help Canis Carroll's cause there was the reaction of all the Woking players. They made it look potentially even a little bit worse than it was. I did look back at the replay. It was a reckless one. Back in the day when I was a referee, as I said to Andy, I would have called that an orange card, Jerome. It was one of those that you've seen them given, and he'll need to tread pretty carefully.
Just depends on the view, doesn't it? The referee was looking from behind it, so probably it's hard for him to gauge. Maybe also the side that the assistant wasn't on. So I think both of those things probably played into Canis Carroll's hands a little bit. The Woking goal, absolute cracker. Nothing really anybody could do about that. Maybe close down a little bit more on the edge of the box.
Yeah, and Brzozowski can't be to blame for that one. He's been keeping City in the game. It was a cracking strike, wasn't it, from the edge of the box? Yeah, possibly City could have closed down a little bit quicker and not given Luca quite so much space to have the crack at goal. But it was a great strike from the edge of the box, and and Brzozowski couldn't do much about that one.
Have your say tonight. 81333. Start your text with the word Oxford if you're getting involved on social media at BBC Oxford Sport. We've got one other game to keep you in touch with locally tonight. And this is Thame United against Waltham Abbey. This is the Southern League Division 1 Central, and half-time news from Colin Ride.
Yeah, half-time is Thame United 2, Waltham Abbey 3. And Waltham Abbey were 2 up in the first 20 minutes. Both goals scored by Jason Hallett on 15 and 20 minutes. Thame got one back on the half hour, and then an equaliser on 40 minutes scored by their centre-back, Finley Murray. Unfortunately, Waltham Abbey got their third from a corner on the stroke of half-time, so it's Thame United 2, Waltham Abbey 3 after the first 45. And both sides battling driving rain and a howling gale here this evening, but Waltham Abbey are on top. At the break, it's Thame United 2, Waltham Abbey 3.
Your phone's even providing us with sound effects. Thank you, Colin. This is BBC Radio Oxford Sport, and the weather is doing damage in League One. I'll get to that shortly, and League Two tonight as well. Let's tell you a little bit more about what's going on in football elsewhere then tonight. 3 matches in the FA Cup, all fourth round replays. 2 goals at Coventry. Coventry, of course, conquerors of Oxford United in the third round of the FA Cup. They've got this replay against Sheffield Wednesday. Let's hear the action from that game so far.
Diaby on the ball now, but he's just possessed. And coming away with it is O'Hare. Good ball to Palmer on the edge of the area, trying to find room for the shot, which he does. And Coventry City take the lead in the third minute. Casey Palmer scores against Sheffield Wednesday. in a fixture which has caused him much angst and distress, but he gets the goal here early on at the arena. It is Coventry City 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Picked up by Wednesday on the edge of the area. Good tackle by Sakamoto, but it's back with the corner taker Volks. He goes for the first time cross. That's clear. Hits a couple of Sky Blues players, and the rebound is turned in by Sheffield Wednesday. And they've equalised. A little unlucky the Sky Blues as Calamatri celebrates it, deflected of 2 Sky Blues players into the path of Bailey Calamatri. Maybe this isn't going to be quite so easy after all. Coventry City 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1.
Clive Eakin from BBC Coventry and Warwickshire on commentary there. Elsewhere, Plymouth 0, Leeds 0 at half-time, Southampton 0, Watford 0. That game going to a replay with a very, very late Southampton goal at Vicarage Road. They're playing for the right to take on Liverpool in the next round. Scotland, Rangers 1, Aberdeen 0, heading towards the final 5 minutes of the first half there. Rangers closing in on Celtic at the top of the Premiership. Motherwell 3, Ross County 0 is the latest score. Should point out, of course, Neil Warnock, if you missed the news, Aberdeen manager now, the guy who has talked about supporting half of Scotland over the years, but one of the teams he has said that he supported in the past was Rangers, and Rangers leading Neil Warnock's Aberdeen by 1-0. In League One then, Bristol Rovers 0, Fleetwood 1 at half-time. Bristol Rovers, who beat Oxford United 10 days ago, have had a difficult time either side of it. 1-0 down against Fleetwood tonight, and that's a half-time. Burton against Cheltenham, that one postponed late on because of a waterlogged pitch at the Pirelli Stadium. Not as bad as at Cambridge. The game against Bolton Wanderers abandoned after 11 minutes because of a waterlogged pitch in Cambridgeshire. Cambridgeshire side Peterborough on the road tonight. They're away to Exeter and leading by 1-0 in that game. A penalty from Burrows has got the Posh in front at half-time. Also half-time, Port Vale 0, Leyton Orient 0, Stevenage 0, Reading 1. Now, that is an Oliver own goal that's put the Royals in front just before the break. Under normal circumstances, Oxford United supporters might not be cheering that, but given Stevenage are just above United in the table, tonight they might be. League 2, one game called off because of a waterlogged pitch. Walsall against Morecambe. The other matches in the National League, Altrincham against Dorking, that one postponed. Dagenham 0, Chesterfield 1 is a half-time score. Chesterfield imperious at the top of the table. Dagenham, who City visit at the weekend, trailing 1-0. Solihull Moors 2-0 up at Halifax, 0-0 between Gateshead and Eastleigh. What a trip that is on a Tuesday night for Eastleigh. It is Wealdstone 0, Maidenhead United 0, and as we've been hearing, Oxford City trailing at Woking by 1-0.
Nia Kirby tied us up, but then loses out to Jaden Luca. Luca's in here down the right-hand side. He finds Ricky Kaboa. Chance here on the edge of the penalty area, and it's a goal for Woking. And it's the first goal, and it's Jaden Luca from the edge of the box. Marcin Brzozowski was clutching at thin air, and from 18 yards out, it's the first goal. And in some ways it was coming. It's Woking 1, Oxford City 0.
So that's the way of it at half-time. Back for the second half. As I mentioned, Oxford United were playing against Reading at the weekend. So before we go back and talk about Oxford City and Woking in the second half, let's just reflect on Oxford United's draw against the Royals in the Thames Valley Derby.
Feels like a significant game as far as League One survival is concerned for Reading and promotion for Oxford United.
Feels like the walls are all closing in.
Rodriguez does well to charge down to clearance. It spins into his path and he's got Harris alongside him. He's got Goodrum arriving. Into the area goes Goodrum. Harris is square. Goodrum just delayed the pass. It spins into the air and it's volley clear. But here's a big chance for Reading. Aziz, right edge of the penalty area. Crosses. Kieran Brown sorts his feet out to clear. Wing volleys it back in. Big deflection. Breaks towards the near side of the penalty area and Greg Lee defends that really well. Tyler Goodrum on the halfway line though. Skips away from a couple of challenges. 3 United players to his right. One of them's Rodriguez. He's got Bury onside. Across the penalty area. Craig deals with it. 2 to pick out in the penalty area for Bury. He's played it in behind. Brannigan Heavy touch, still involved. Into the penalty area and into the net from Mark Harris. And the Thames Valley Derby has a goal, and it's gone to Oxford United. Fury down the near side, here he goes. And away he goes, and away he goes. Past 2, past 3 into the area, he's blocked off. Brannigan starts to drive at that Reading defence, and still going. Slalom run, left and right, onto his right foot, digs out the shot, deflection. Heavy Batchman into the penalty area. Negro keeps away from him. He pulls it right across the face of goal, and it goes in off Kieran Brown, and it's an own goal. And Reading, who threatened so little in the second half, get the equalising goal. Breaks back to Negru, and McGuane says just calm it down. He goes back to Eastwood. Negru under pressure, back to Negru, who turns himself under pressure and chips it forward.
Midfield are too far back, our defence are too far back, and as far as I'm concerned, we need to squeeze everyone up and start that high press again.
You know, the whole game, I mean, I couldn't put my finger on any one thing, really. Couldn't get things going anywhere.
Boos from the Oxford United fans who feel that their team have squandered a chance to win the derby. The Reading players out on their feet again, like they've lost the cup final. But I do understand that in the end, this isn't particularly satisfactory for anybody. 1-1, it's finished again.
I just felt like putting my head through a wall. Just so disappointing in the end. You work hard in the game and they have next to nothing.
Don't try that at home. Cameron Brannigan with his frustration after Oxford United's draw against Reading at the weekend. Oxford City, they were frustrated too at the weekend, having led 2-0. They were beaten by Kidderminster 3-2 on Saturday. Tonight, 1-0 down and looking to turn it around in the second 45 minutes at Woking. You'll hear that second 45 minutes live with us next.
Every kick, tackle and goal.
And Parker cuts inside. Parker's in here. And City have made it 4-0.
All the action is just moments away.
And it's been taken. All the goals running in.
Banbury United, champions of the Southern League, Premier Division Central.
And we are underway.
This is BBC Radio Oxford Sport.
Hi, I'm Kylie Minogue.
I'm Rick Astley.
And I'm James Blunt.
It's time to say thank you to the brave, the courageous, the unsung heroes.
The BBC Make a Difference Awards recognise and appreciate those who love to make life better for others.
I think there's a real magic to what you guys do.
The BBC Make a Difference Awards.
You can find the terms and conditions at bbc.co.uk/make a difference. Nominations are open now and close Sunday the 10th of March at 11 p.m.
It's time to say thank you to the unsung heroes. You're beautiful.
The BBC Make a Difference Awards.
BBC Radio Oxford.
Thank you all for making a difference.
I can't rest, I can't fight. All I need is you and I without you.
It's BBC Radio Oxford on a Tuesday night. Good evening, this is Jerome Sale with your sports programme tonight. Woking 1, Oxford City 0 at half-time. Tame United 3-2 down at home against Waltham Abbey. Full-time news on the way from that one from Colin Wright. Saturday afternoon from 2, we've got BBC Sounds commentary of Oxford City's game at Dagenham and Redbridge, and Oxford United on the road to Blackpool. But right now we'll focus on what's going on at Woking. Second 45 minutes, not too far away. Woking 1, Oxford City 0 at the break. Let's go back to Andy Gate and Kieran Bushnell.
Yeah, players have just emerged from the tunnel for the second half. No changes on either side so far. The rain still pouring down here at the Laithwaite Community Stadium. I don't think we're going to have any issues with the pitch. It's playing in a pretty good nick, to be fair. No sign of any waterlogging, famous last words, but City have got it all to do again, because that was a really poor first half performance from Oxford City. They really didn't work the goalkeeper at all. And Andy joining me for commentary. Andy, they need to step up in this second half, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's what everyone knows and was quite obvious. And those 11 players out there in the hoop shirts will know that most of all, because they've not been good enough. And that's the bottom line. I don't think Ross Jenkins would have been very happy, and we're actually seeing a substitute at half time here, and it's Canis Carroll who's not come out for the second half, and he's been replaced by Giles Phillips. So straight away a change at the break, and Giles Phillips coming on. I wonder whether Canis Carroll on a yellow card and that slight injury he picked up will have maybe forced Ross Jenkins' hand there, but we are underway. Oh, not quite yet. The referee's whistle goes, but
false start.
a bit of a false start. The Woking players charge forward a little bit too early for the referee's liking, but we are now underway, and Woking get us back underway here at the Laithwaite Community Stadium in their red and white shirts, black shorts and white socks, shooting towards the terrace behind the goal to our left as we look at it in the press box, where all the Woking fans are camped behind. Oxford City shooting towards their supporters with that massive stand towards our right in their home shirts of blue and white hoops, blue shorts and blue socks.
And Andy, I think you're probably right about the substitution. You know, Canis Carroll picked up a bit of a knock early on, didn't he? Then he had that pretty reckless challenge, which was a yellow card, and if he's carrying a slight niggle and he dives into another challenge, it's going to potentially end up being a red card. So maybe that's just a little bit of common sense coming in there from the manager, Ross Jenkins.
Yep, so Giles Phillips, the new man who signed after leaving Irish side Waterford, has been given the nod. He's also been at Aldershot in the past few seasons, a real leader, was captain at both Waterford and Aldershot in his past 3 seasons in football, and helped Waterford gain promotion back to the top division in Ireland last season. But here's an early chance for the hosts as they come close here. Here's Lewis, plays the ball out to Edwards, cross into the box, eventually cleared but not far away by City, and the ball gets stuck beneath Josh Ashby's feet. Few muted appeals for handball from the Woking crowd. Lewis will pick the ball up on the left, darts for the byline, left-footed cross across goal, hits Birtwistle and out for a Woking corner. Another muted appeal for handball off Birtwistle, referee unmoved, and Woking have picked up where they left off in this second half. And then shooting towards their fans, it's also got them in fine voice. Crossed into the box, right-footed in swinger, bounces around still. City just trying to clear their lines, and eventually do, as the ball bounces into the feet of Andre Burley, who eventually hooks the ball up the field and out for a Woking corner, directly in front of me in the press box, almost on the halfway line, but just inside Oxford City's half. So another... Well, Michael Doyle's team picking up from where they left off in the first half, coming close, but like we said at half-time, City are down, but they're not out here, and they'll come forward with Parker. Gets the ball caught underneath his feet, but it bounces back to Roberts. Ball back to Brzozowski, looked a little bit too short, but Brzozowski hits the ball into the air. It gets caught in the wind and blows in the air and back into the midfield, and Woking will pick it up. Lewis again, who's got more involved as the game's gone on. Josh Ashby nudges into his Woking counterpart, and then Andre Burley gets the ball. It won't matter anyway, as Walker was brought down by Burley, but was in an offside position anyway, and City will get the ball going as quickly as possible. City just starting to get close to their men, and I suppose leaving one on them a little bit, trying to make it into a contest. Oh, but the ball is misplaced by City, and here comes Walker. Early opportunity for Phillips to get his body in the way of it, but Denon Phillips can't pick up on the loose ball as it trickled towards the byline. Tried to backheel it back into play. A rare misplaced pass from Reece Fleet, I think it was. And
yeah,
City...
just a little sign, Andy, maybe that City are just trying to put themselves about a bit more in this second half so far. You know, flying into a few challenges, fair challenges, and maybe just showing that little bit of desire that was lacking in the first half.
Absolutely. City's instructions would probably be along the lines of, let's move it quicker, let's move it forward a bit more, but the ball bounces again to Walker. This time Nia Kirby does well to close down the ball. He wanted to play on, so he takes the free kick short anyway. Parker goes in front of his man, but that's a good challenge in the end by Max Deitch, who's not really touched the ball at all in this game. Max Deitch, son of Everton manager Sean Deitch. He's on loan here at Woking. Here's Roddy, again caught beneath the challenge of a red shirt. Actually turned away from his man then, Jacob Roddy, the Charlton Athletic loanee, and burst forward, but the referee had already put the whistle to his lips and had given a free kick. So 5 minutes gone in this second half, still Woking in the ascendancy, and they lead 1-0 thanks to Jaden Luca's first career goal. The midfielder blasting it past Marcin Brzozowski in the first half. On loan from Luton, that's the difference between the two sides already. And Woking, if they can hold on to these 3 points, will climb out of the bottom 4. Oxford City, the picture will look a little bit grimmer for them at the foot of the National League table. Again, a ball forward from Woking's cut out by Andre Burley. Birtwistle tries to play it forward, but every time Oxford City's defenders and midfielders receive the ball and try and play forward, there is 2, 3, 4 Woking red shirts in front of them, closing them down quickly, getting something on the end of the pass to make sure it doesn't find its man. It's been pretty impressive stuff from Michael Doyle's men so far, as much as the attacking threat from Oxford City has been lacking so far. Just looking down at the Oxford City bench, and they are readying Rennie Smith. He was warming up just a few minutes ago in his tracksuit. He's got his bib on, but his kit on underneath it. So Rennie Smith getting ready to come on in this game in just a few moments' time. Phillips almost gets dispossessed by Lewis Walker, the Woking striker that was breathing down his neck, and again Woking will press all the way from the front, and Nia Kirby has no option but to go back to Marcin Brzozowski, the City goalkeeper. Again flicked on by Ashby. City are readying that change now. Again caught beneath the feet of a couple of Woking men. Kelly Evans again picked up on just. I'm just wondering when the first real opportunity of this game is going to fall to Oxford City. Perhaps Woking playing in this high intense pressing style may have their effect on the legs, especially after a game on Saturday. Here's Phillips, who's had a few touches since coming on but not had too much to do so far. Fleet has to drop deep into his own box to receive the ball. Again, Woking pressing high, but City have beaten the first line of that press. Here's Ashby on the right-hand side, almost hugging the byline, tries to find Birtwistle, but the Cardinals captain, Josh Casey, just goes through the back of Birtwistle, wins the ball, out for a City throw-in, and here is the substitution. So Rennie Smith is the man that will be coming on. Let's just see what the fourth official's number's going to be. It's Alfie Potter. Lasted 52 minutes here, so it's Potter off, Rennie Smith on. So that's Alfie Potter's game done and dusted. Not quite sure whether it's just a case of getting a few minutes on or it's a tactical or forced change from Ross Jenkins, but Rennie Smith, who started on Saturday, is the man to come on for City. And if there's one thing that Rennie Smith will give you, it's legs in the midfield. One of the highest he covers a lot of distance, Rennie Smith, and he'll get a first touch of the ball here. Smith just chests it down inside the area, but that was just a little bit too powerful, the ball into Rennie Smith's chest, and he ends up chesting it out of play. Tried to get to the byline and whip across the box, but couldn't quite do it, Kieran.
Yeah, I don't know if you've alluded to this previously, but 2 changes inside the first 7 minutes for Ross Jenkins. That's not a Ross Jenkins thing normally, is it? He doesn't normally make early changes. Possibly the Canis Carroll one was enforced. I didn't see Alfie Potter sort of hobbling off. I'm not sure if he picked up a knock, but two very early changes. He's only got one option left now on the bench if he needs goals or striker. Yeah. He's got Harvey Greenslade or Aaron Winslow, an attack-minded player, but not a lot else.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether it is a forced change for Ross Jenkins, because if he's going to make a change at half-time with Canis Carroll, and he'd probably give Alfie Potter a little bit longer than 5 minutes in the first half. It's not like he's been terrible. He's hardly any of the City attackers have touched the ball so far, so perhaps just harbouring a little bit of an injury. Nevertheless, Rennie Smith will have his time to impress now, and after losing his starting spot to Alfie Potter, he's got an opportunity to get it back. Ball played over to the left, looking for Jacob Roddy, but again, Dion Kelly-Evans and a Woking shirt is first to it, and there's even more concern on the City bench here as Josh Ashby's gone down holding his foot. He's back onto his haunches here, Josh Ashby, and eventually perhaps just a little sore one. He did stay down there, the Oxford City midfielder who's just started to come back from a long injury layoff. He spent months on the sideline, but he's going to be okay to continue, thankfully, for City. Josh Ashby, and in fact you could probably pinpoint City's downfall on Saturday to the point where Josh Ashby was subbed off, so he is a very key component to Ross Jenkins' side. Ball floated over to Andre Burley on the halfway line by Fleet. Perfectly weighted ball, but Andre Burley's missed it, and now here come Woking on the counter-attack. Denon Lewis is chased down by Birtwistle, who does expertly well, Harry Birtwistle, to use his blistering pace to get in front of Denon Lewis, who looked in on goal and even win an Oxford City throw-in, and well, bail out Andre Burley as the St Kitts and Nevis international was... Well, he made a couple of errors there to lose the ball as City looked quite promising. Cuthbert hits the ball into the air. It's picked on by the head of Josh Parker. Well controlled by Fleet. Moves the ball onto Smith. Puts it into an area ahead of Josh Ashby. But Andre Jr., the Woking goalkeeper, is alert to the danger and comes rushing out of his goal to clear his lines. Now Woking will look to spring an attack from that. Walker beats his man. Cuts back inside. Will play the ball back to Deitch, the centre half. Over to Casey, the Woking captain, on this left-hand side. Denon Lewis has shown for him short. Edwards now works the ball over to the right. Cuthbert touches the ball into the Oxford City half to continue this Woking attack. Ball from Luca down the right. Here's Corboa, and it wasn't a bad cross from the Woking midfielder. It just needed a touch from Walker, who was lingering inside the area. If he was just a few inches ahead of himself in the 6-yard box, it was probably 2-0 and curtains for Oxford City.
Yeah, flash that across goal. A big sigh of anguish from the home supporters there. Like you said, if there was just a little touch at the back post, that would have been 2-0, and there would have been, I think, no way back for Oxford City.
But it is still Woking 1, Oxford City 0. 57 minutes on the clock here at the Laithwaite Community Stadium, and although it's not been a vintage Oxford City performance, they are still in it here. But Woking in the ascendancy as it stands. This 3 points will take them out of the National League relegation zone, and it'll be their first home win since August. The team with the worst home record in the National League against Oxford City, who have the second worst away record. It's a real relegation battle here. But at the moment, City just looking for a way back into it, as those ironic cheers you may hear from the Woking fans as the ball floats past Jacob Roddy's head on the left wing and flies out for a Woking corner. They need to do better at that Oxford City. They need to play a little bit more savvy. They need to play a bit more intelligently. The ball's been a little bit too sloppy, but there may be a chance here for Woking. Brilliantly cut inside by Corboa. Referee he puts a whistle to his lips. Oh, he's given a penalty. Well, the referee stopped for a second, and he looked as though that he was going to book Corboa for diving. He let the game continue, but as soon as the game did continue, he blew the whistle. Yellow card for Giles Phillips. It is a penalty for Woking.
Well, I'd love to see that one.
Well, that is a contentious decision.
Yellow card for Reece Fleet as well for contesting it. I'd love to see that one back. The referee didn't appear that he was given the penalty and then pulled it back. Well, I don't think he was playing an advantage in the box at all. But it's a penalty to Woking, and a glorious chance now for them to go 2-0 up. And that, as you said a moment ago, Andy, will probably be curtains for Oxford City. Now, Rosowski's had a Really good.
Well, Ashby's been booked now, I think, as well.
3 yellow
Three bookings.
cards, yeah.
Let's have a look back at this penalty. So Kolboa goes down. Oh, is he caught there?
I think
Is he caught there by Andre Burley? So he cuts back on his right foot. I think that's a dive. Oh, it's tight, isn't it? Did Burley get a nick on his man? It was extremely tight. 3 bookings.
It was a soft one, possibly, but
very contentious decision. But there is one thing for sure: Woking have a penalty, and it's Lewis Walker who will take it. So it's Walker against Brzozowski to give Woking a 2-goal lead here in Surrey. The referee, who has made a pretty big call in this game, we're just waiting for his whistle. So Walker against Brzozowski, blows the whistle. Walker steps up to take it, takes a couple of steps and sends Brzozowski the wrong way, and Woking do have a 2-goal lead in very controversial circumstances perhaps, but they are ahead in this game. Perhaps he caught him ever so slightly, but there is one thing for sure: Woking take a 2-goal lead in this game, and Oxford City have an even bigger mountain to climb if they're to find themselves a way back into this one. It's Woking 2, Oxford City 0.
I think Ricky Kolboa has felt a little touch there, Andy, and he's gone down, and I think it is a very slight touch, but I think he has caught him, and it's going from bad to worse for Oxford City. We've got an hour gone here, and once again Oxford City find themselves staring down the barrel of a defeat, and it's going to get harder and harder and harder for Oxford City. They've got Dagenham away on Saturday. They're going to be 6-7 points adrift of safety at this rate, and it's just not looking good for Oxford City. You mentioned it could be curtains, Andy. I'm starting to agree with you, I'm afraid.
Well, the one thing we were saying at half-time is that Oxford City had kept their head above water of that pressure from Woking. Well, now they're 2 goals down. Let's see what they're made of here, Ross Jenkins' side. Chance of we are staying up around the Laithwaite Community Stadium. They're starting to feel the feel-good factor here. But here's Josh Ashby inside the middle of the Woking half. Finds Birtwistle, tries to dart ahead of his man Casey, but he's backed up by Curtis Edwards, who comes back to support him. City still playing the ball ahead, and here's Ashby now. Ball across the box, well cleared, back into Ashby, and eventually fired into the stand by Casey, the left-back. Well, that just seems to have fired up the Oxford City players, because that's the most players I've seen committed forward by City there. But whether or not it was a penalty, it's done now, and City need to keep cool heads. They need to start finding a way back into this game. Just over an hour played. Woking 2, Oxford City 0. Fleet now. Parker on the edge of the area goes down. He wants a free kick on the edge of the box. Referee unmoved. Lewis now goes shoulder to shoulder with Burley. City want to throw in, they get it and they take it quickly. Fleet works the ball into the centre circle now, moves the ball over to the left-sided centre half. Roberts, he just wants an option. Roberts, he's screaming to his teammates on signalling he wants someone to show for him. That has been the problem with Oxford City this evening. They've not been able to move the ball forward enough. Here's Burley, lets the ball run, just about keeps it in, tries to find Smith, but it goes past him. Again, ball forward but it doesn't find anyone, into the hands of Marcin Brzozowski. Phillips, Kirby now. That was a hammer blow for Oxford City. It's not looking good at the foot of the National League table. As it stands, Woking will be the team to catch on 33 points. And that will mean City are 6 points behind them. They really need to peg back their opponents to make this into a contest, because at the moment it's been very one-sided. And City haven't shown up. Phillips, ball forward looking for Kirby. Nice ball over to the right side with Burley. He's got a bit of space to run into now. Just looking for an option, Burley, who holds on to it. He's then closed down by Edwards. Throw in to City inside the Woking half. They're starting to bring the game a little bit more to the Cardinals, but again, still not created too much. Phillips just keeps the ball in. Brilliant play from Kirby, but that Ball is loose and doesn't find Roberts. Touched ahead by Luca. Bursts into the box, Luca. Shrugs off Roberts. Keeps going. Luca, fantastic footwork from the Luton low knee. It could be 3, but it's a bad touch by Corboa. It's not over yet, though. City haven't cleared their lines. Inside the box still. Looking for a shot, and eventually it does come, and it comes through Tunji Akinola, and his left-footed shank is way over the bar in the stand. But that was a let-off for Oxford City. Could well have been 3-0, as brilliant work from the Luton low knee. Jaden Luca, and scorer of the first goal, but when the ball found Ricky Corboa inside the area, he couldn't find the target, and that's a big let-off for Oxford City, Kieran.
It really is. It's been so one-sided. A couple of sort of half chances for City to get an attack, but that was another glorious opportunity, and City are being outplayed, they're being outthought, they're being out-battled completely by this Woking side, who look odds on now to pick up their first home win since August. And if that doesn't sum up Oxford City's season, if they're going to lose this one to a side that are only just above them, haven't won here since August, and they look on the crest of a wave at the moment, and that was so nearly 3-0. Substitutions just taken place. Josh Smith has come on for Woking, and City need to get a goal back quickly, but I just can't see where it's coming from, Andy.
Not at the moment. There's 25 minutes left in this one as we come towards the midway point of the second half, but City, you do get the impression they need something quick. Thought that hit the hand of Akinola there, but hand in the air, nothing given, no appeals anywhere. Might have just been me there. Ball into the air. Roberts heads it back into the Woking half. Couldn't quite control it, Josh Ashby. So again, possession is turned over, and Woking play the ball down the right, looking for the on-running Edwards. Again, looking for Rennie Smith. Just lost his bearings there, Smith, but luckily for him, he'll pick up a sloppy pass that hits him in the back and brings the ball over the halfway line. But this time it's Rennie Smith's turn to do the sloppy pass, and that's going to be a foul. And Andre Burley could go here. It's going to be a second yellow card, is it, for Andre Burley? Or was he booked in the first place? I thought he was booked.
I thought he was booked for the foul, but obviously not.
Well, I thought he was booked for the foul and the penalty. He's been booked there, booking for Andre Burley. He must have been one of the 3 players that hadn't been booked. So Brzozowski was definitely booked for the penalty. Reece Fleet and Josh Ashby were booked.
Yeah.
But Andre Burley, definitely a booking that time, as I think it was Josh Casey played the ball past his man and looked to beat him on the outside, but Andre Burley just stood his ground and made sure he was not going to get past, and Casey hit the deck with a thud. And that is definitely a free kick for Woking, a brief hiatus in this second half.
I'll take a point now, Andy.
I think
2-2 would be.
I think you definitely would, wouldn't you? But they have done it before, Oxford City. Cast your minds back to when they were away at Eastleigh. They were 2-0 down until the last 15 minutes of the game. Latrell Humphrey-Ewer's free kick, bringing them back into that one and earning them a solid point on the road. They were down a couple of times away at Solihull Moors earlier in the season, but that early season form seems to have deserted them here in the second half of the season, but they need to refine that form. But as we enter the second half of this second half, I'll pass you over to Kieran Bushnell to take us through to half-time, and let's see if Oxford City can respond to this major setback.
I'll try and bring a couple of goals to Oxford City if I can, but it hasn't looked likely so far. Dice with the long free kick, looking for Luca on the far side, but that's going to go out of play for a goal kick. We have 22 minutes to go, plus stoppage time, and City's relegation is looming, dare I say, because this one will almost hurt as much as the Kidderminster result for different reasons, purely because of the level of performance, because it's just been anything but a good performance from Oxford City. They've been outplayed in this game so far, and it could have so easily been 3 or 4, to be honest. A couple of really good chances in the first half, and it could have been 3-0 just a moment ago. Brzozowski clears the ball over the halfway line from the goal kick, and there's a bit of a midfield tussle going on. Josh Ashby looks to try and get the ball from Fleet, and Naya Kirby tidies up. Andre Burley, who's just picked up that yellow card a moment ago, back to Fleet, and it was a fair enough yellow card as well. No real effort to play the ball from Burley. Yes, he stood his ground, but it was a bit cynical, to be honest, and definitely a yellow card. Is there a chance now, though, with Rennie Smith down the left side? He's going to get the ball across the penalty area, but it's cleared away by 2 or 3 Woking defenders, including Cuthbert and Casey, and it's out of play on the far side for another throw to Oxford City. Fleet just chips the ball over the top, trying to find Rennie Smith. Smith plays in Phillips. Woking just clearing their lines again, but a bit of a air shot there from the substitute Josh Smith, but Woking get away with it, and they're coming forward again. City getting numbers back, and Andre Burley one of those, and he gets the ball forward to Burt Whistle into the penalty area, but everything that seems to go into the penalty area, Woking man seems to get there first, and they've done so again here, and they're going to clear this one up again on the far side with Luca. Forward by Kelly Evans towards Lewis Walker. Back in, a good ball there from Luca, looking for Denon Lewis, but this time tied up quite nicely there by Phillips and Burley, and back to the goalkeeper Marcin Brzozowski, who's been really good this evening actually, and has kept City in this game despite it being 2-0. Can City get a goal back? Not with balls like that, they're not. That was just a completely misplaced pass, and it's just rolled harmlessly out of play for a goal kick, and everything that City tried to mount is just going wrong today.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good way of describing it, but you just hope with 20 minutes to go that City can start to test their Alexis Andre Jr.
He's had nothing to do, Andy. He hasn't had a save to make.
I mean, you get the sense that if City could get a goal, whether it's the scrappiest goal ever or whatever, the crowd will start to get a bit nervy here at Woking. I mean, when they scored the first goal, there were sarcastic chants of "We've scored a goal." So there has been a little bit of apprehension around the ground. So if City can get a goal, they'll have to get it quickly. Maybe, just maybe, there could be a few more twists and turns in this one. But having said that, it doesn't look like they're going to get anywhere near it today.
What City are really lacking is their playmaker, Zach McEachran. He's sitting up in the stand. He came into the ground on crutches. He's probably out for the best part of the rest of the season. And he's been a big miss for Oxford City, no doubt. And it's another free kick now to the home side. And the home supporters don't see many victories here at the Laithwaite Community Stadium. They're on the way to seeing one here.
Final change for City here as well. Looks like Josh Parker's going to come off for Harvey Greenslade.
Yeah, Harvey Greenslade on loan from Bristol Rovers. Came on as a substitute on Saturday as well, as out-and-out centre forward. Greenslade scored 4 goals during a loan spell at Truro City earlier this season, so does know his way to goal. This is a bit of a step up though. Truro City.
How many goals was it at Truro? 4?
4.
Well, he might need to get that today.
Yeah, if he does, he might be a New York City folk hero. But City have got defending to do again at the moment. Casey, the captain, finds Denon Lewis on this left side, back to Cuthbert. Edwards, a nice sweeping crossfield pass to the opposite side, but that's going to be cleared away by Giles Phillips over the halfway line. But it's really just an aimless clearance, really. But as it happens, Josh Ashby does pick up the loose ball, but then really good defending by Akinola back to the goalkeeper, and Woking come away with the ball again over the halfway line. I thought Walker was offside there, to be honest, but the assistant kept the flag down. The ball didn't go through to him, so fair dues keeping the flag down. I'd like to think that it would have gone up had Lewis Walker run onto the ball. Roberts brings the ball over the halfway. Now there's a chance in the penalty area. Rennie Smith, and it's a shot straight at the goalkeeper. That's the first shot on goal that we've seen from Oxford City, and it's taken 73 minutes. And we'll call that a shot on target, because the goalkeeper, Alexis Andre Jr., did have to hold that one, and it was a shot on target, but it's taken 72.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Free kick given now against Oxford City again.
Straight out the goalkeeper, but it's a shot. That's what City need to do. They just need to start testing him. That's the first save he's had to make. So more of that from Oxford City would not go amiss. It was a good move actually, and Rennie Smith perhaps should be doing a lot better than he did with that shot. That goes in, it's a different game. It just sums up Oxford City's night that he hasn't tested the goalkeeper more than he has done there.
Substitution for Woking now, and Jermaine Anderson's coming on. I think it's Denon Lewis making way. He's getting a bit of a round of applause for his day's work. And it will be Jermaine Anderson coming on in his place for these last 16 minutes or so, plus stoppage time, with his side leading by 2-0. Free kick over on the far side, about 20 yards in from the halfway line. There's Lewis Walker, Max Dyche up there as well, and it's looking towards Max Dyche, and it's gone over his head, and then Dyche sprints back to get himself back into his central defensive position, and that was a fairly harmless free kick that went over Dyche's head and out of play for a goal kick, and City getting the game underway again. A big gust of wind just holds the ball up there as Brzozowski tried to clear it, and it held it up and it fell nicely for a Woking player again. And now Josh Ashby goes down under the challenge of the substitute Anderson, so his first touch was a touch on the player, not the ball. Free kick given, and City looking to try and get an attack underway themselves. Fleet on the halfway line finds Burley. Burley overhits that pass, but Kirby does really well to control it, and then Josh Ashby in the centre circle lays the ball out to the left-hand side, back into Kirby. Kirby has Burley on the right wing and he finds him. Burley trying to get inside, he turns inside his man, but again Woking close it down well, and they're coming away with it again, the home side, and just defending when they need to really, really well, not really giving City a sniff. And now there's a chance for a counter-attack with that sweeping ball from Josh Smith over to Akinola. Dion Kelly-Evans tries to get the ball into the penalty area, blocked. Kelly-Evans though will try and retrieve the ball, but doesn't manage to do so, and it's back at the feet of Akinola, and then Akinola overhits it, and it's going to go out of play for a City goal kick, or in fact Brzozowski's going to stop it from going out, and he'll take this.
I think it's been quite a baptism of fire into a senior game for Harry Birtwistle. He's shown a pretty quick turn of pace, and he's done okay, but whenever he tries to get forward, Josh Casey, the captain and left back for Woking, has really done a number on him.
Ball over the top, looking for Rennie Smith to chase on, but again overhit, and that's been the story of Oxford City's day, isn't it? Overhit passes, misplaced passes, giving the ball away, not closing down the way Woking have. Woking have shown all the fight and desire that they wanted to, show their home supporters that they are in this fight to avoid relegation. And as it stands, with 14 minutes to go, they're going to be out of the relegation zone this evening, and Oxford City will be 6 points adrift from safety, with Dagenham next up on Saturday, and the games then start getting tougher and tougher. You've got Southend coming up. I think they're bringing about 500 supporters with them or more, so that's going to be a bit of a atmosphere against them for a home side. It's going to be very, very noisy. Southend coming to City on Saturday week. Good ball there out to the left-hand side to the skipper, Casey. Casey tries to nip the ball into the substitute Smith. Back to Casey again, and this time Andre Burley does well to rob the ball from Casey, and then Birtwistle just hoists the ball forward, but it's again pretty aimless. And it was fairly aimless. Harvey Greenslade did force the goalkeeper to put it out of play for a throw-in, but it was a bit of a hit-and-hope pass, really. And these two young men, Birtwistle and Greenslade, on loan from Wolverhampton Wanderers and Bristol Rovers respectively. All three new signings are on now for Oxford City. Ashby tries to get a cross in there towards Greenslade, and it's gone over the bar. The referee doesn't have a clue what it's going to be, so he finally decides to give a corner, looking at his assistant. His assistant looks at the referee, I don't think either of them had a clue there, so the referee just said, I'll give Oxford City a corner.
What I will say is I think the introduction of Harvey Greenslade from the bench has given Oxford City what they need. He was chasing down that loose ball, which I'm not sure what Andre Junior, the Woking goalkeeper, was doing, trying to shepherd it out, but he's given them a bit of zest up front, a bit of pressing. He's working hard.
Ashby's delivery into the box, headed over the bar by Andre Burley. Good delivery. Burley got his head to the ball, but it was always going wide.
Should be doing better. Good ball, and he did well to get away from his man Andre Burley and send an effort towards goal, but it was not near the target and it went wide. Perhaps if that's just a few inches back, he's giving the goalkeeper a save to make, but it's starting to come a little bit closer. Oxford City, they're starting to ask Andre Junior a few more questions, but you get the sense it's starting to. You're getting the sense of now or never, aren't you? City need to do better now. They can't start creeping towards goal ever so slightly and score in the 90th minute and lose 2-1. They need to get a goal now.
They do, and they've got 11 minutes to go, and they need to get a goal pretty sharpish if they want to have any hope of even getting a point out of this game. Saturday's defeat was gut-wrenching. This evening's performance and likely defeat, you just get the feeling that it's almost beyond City, and I'm not saying they're giving up, they're not downing tools, but they just don't seem to have any answers, any ideas at all this evening. It's arguably been one of City's poorest performances of the season, and then a shot from Harvey Greenslade scuffed it wide. And I've seen City a lot, you've seen City more than me this year, Andy, and we've got to say this really is a disappointing performance, one of the worst, poorest displays of the season, I think.
It's not been great, has it? I think they need to. I think the question that Ross Jenkins needs to ask is, why does it take Oxford City so long to start attacking and looking like a team that are up for the fight? Because the whole first half they didn't. And the frustrating thing about Oxford City is, like you said, Kieran, watching them this season, they're a lot better than they're showing.
Yeah. You know, on Saturday, first half against Kidderminster was probably one of the best performances we've seen for that half, but Woking on the attack again, and they're on the prowl looking for a third goal. Akinoa finds Edwards. City struggling to clear it, back to Edwards again. Akinoa picks the ball up in the middle of the field. Good pass there out to the left hand side to Casey, the captain. Casey finds Smith. Smith gets a ball in deflected, and it's going to go out of play for another corner, and another corner for City to defend, and it's in the wrong half of the field from an Oxford City perspective.
Yeah, Woking taking the time to take the corner, you can't blame them. They're 2-0 up, they're pretty comfortable. That's been the problem, hasn't it, with Oxford City? They've gone 2-0 down too often, and then the job's done, and it's too easy for the opponents to just go, right, you know what, let's just set up shop now, let's just defend the lead. And they become easy to beat. They're a nice team to play against, Oxford City.
Yeah.
Because you go ahead too easy against them, and then when they do mount the comeback, it's too little too late.
It's going to be an in-swinging corner from this left side, curled into the penalty area, headed clear, not cleared yet, and still not cleared, back to the edge of the penalty area. Rennie Smith dives in and then forces a shot from Josh Casey, which has sailed out of the ground, and we're going to see the final Woking substitution as well now. And Woking also just running the clock down a little bit as well. And you've hit the nail on the head there a little bit, Andy, as well. They go 2-0 down so often. We've seen it so many times this season, and it's such a long way back for a side that don't have much resources. You know, they are one of the lowest paid sides, the lowest budget. They're a part-time side, but they go 2-0 down far too often.
Yeah, they do. And when it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that they've got the lowest budget in the league. They have everything that you could possibly have to have them as rank outsiders. There's a chance here.
Really poor defending again, and City are on the back foot again, and this time Anderson loses out to Reece Fleet, but Dyche is going to pump it forward again, and then Giles Phillips tidies up, finds Nia Kirby. Kirby in turn finds Mitchell Roberts, who has recovered from that pretty bad looking knock he had in the first half, thankfully. There's one positive. We did think he may have his game may have been done really early, but thankfully it wasn't. That was a foul against Andre Burley, and it's a free kick to Oxford City just inside the half, right down in front of us, taken quickly to Fleet. Mitchell Roberts gets his feet stuck under the ball, and this is a chance now for Woking to seal it, and that's going to be
brilliant challenge.
A really good challenge.
Brilliant. It was
referee,
a great challenge.
To be fair, he was right on top of that one. He clearly signalled that he won the ball, and that was crucial interception, because that was all intents and purposes 3-0 staring there. Can City counter-attack here? Andre Burley down the right wing. Burley goes one way, goes the other. He's trying to get the ball across the penalty area, but another woeful cross goes over the heads of everybody and out of play over to the far side for a throw. And I think the referee's got that call just about right.
Yeah, he has done. But what I was just saying before Oxford City were almost the architects of their own downfall. It was the fact that City do have the lowest budget in the league and all that. And to be fair, if they are where they're expected to be, rock bottom. They're not expected to be even second bottom. But on the pitch, it's different. It's 11 versus 11, and you've got to treat every game like a cup game, if you like. And that's the difference, isn't it, between the full time and the teams that have consistently played in the National League is consistency, and City just haven't shown that. It'll be one week they're spectacular and they get a fantastic win, and the next they're just the complete opposite, and that's what's gone wrong. They need to start playing like, there's a chance here though.
There is a chance. Burt Whistle into Ashby. Ashby goes down under a challenge, but nothing doing, and it could be hooked out of play. Yeah, you're quite right, Andy. We saw Oxford City have that really good sort of 7-game unbeaten run after the couple of defeats at the start of the season. We thought maybe it wasn't going to be such a bad season, because they had a cracking little run. They got themselves out of the relegation zone. They got themselves moving upward towards mid-table. Then we had the injury to Josh Ashby, which was really key. Burt Whistle gets a ball across the penalty area, headed clear. Bit of a scramble there in the penalty area. Hook clear though by Woking's Scott Cuthbert, and Giles Phillips is going to pick up a loose ball.
Yeah, what you're saying is right, Kieran, but I don't think it matters in the end, because you don't want to be a what-if team. What if Josh Ashby was fit? What if that McEachran was fit? Etc, etc. It doesn't matter in the end of the day. If you get relegated, you get relegated. So they need to work with what they've got, and they need to start turning it around. Not just in these last 4 or 5 minutes, but going forward, because there are still points to play for, and they're down, but they're not out yet. They're not out of it at all, but it has to be a lot better than it has been tonight.
It does, but I allude to the fact of the size they got to play. You said before kick-off, knowing Oxford City, they'll go to Chesterfield and pick up 3 points, so you wouldn't put it past them, because they do tend to play slightly better against the sides that are in the top half, with the exception perhaps of Oldham. They should have beaten Altrincham. The defeat at Aldershot was not a 5-2.
But again, Kieran, it's shoulda, woulda, coulda. It's that what ifs. It's that sort of mantra, which I'm sure Ross Jenkins won't care about. He'll know that these are missed opportunities for City, because on their day we all know how good they are. We said it before, but they just need to show it more often. And I'll reiterate, it's that consistency. But they've got 5 minutes to get back into this. If they can get a goal now, it's game on.
They're on the edge of the penalty area. Josh Ashby has a crack from outside the penalty area, but it's going to be a comfortable save for Alexis Andre Jr. We're almost getting to the stage, though, I think, that it's almost that just there's nothing to lose. They just play with a bit more freedom, because they're so far adrift now, 6 points adrift, and they can almost, you can almost argue that they could just try and play with a bit more freedom for these final 16 games or so, because
of course,
nothing else is working.
Well, I'm just wondering, we're used to this 3-5-2, and it's become a little bit stale. I think teams have worked out Oxford City. Perhaps it's time for maybe a little tweak in formation. We saw it a little bit around Christmas time when Ross Jenkins reverted to a 4 at the back. Perhaps maybe it's time for a little tweak, because it just freshens things up a little bit. I think they've become a little bit too predictable, because Woking have know exactly how to deal with Oxford City, and they've done it to the letter, and that's why it's been so comfortable for them. It's not been through lack of trying. Perhaps that's something that we're going through Ross Jenkins' head. I'm not sure, but something's got to change if City are to do something this season, because it's just not working at the moment.
It's got to change. It's got to change quickly. Referee gives a free kick there, and that was a little bit of needless afters there from Lewis Walker. No need for that. It was a clear foul. To be fair, Andre Burley and Lewis Walker then shake each other's hands, so no love lost, but then a little bit of good spirit to finish off. We're into the last minute of the 90 now, and probably 3 or 4 minutes of stoppage time. Giles Phillips finds Reece Fleet. Fleet, beautiful looking off crossfield pass, but headed clear by Kelly Evans. Luca finds Mani Oyalaka, the substitute. Back to the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper, Andre, has had not an awful lot to do. A couple of comfortable saves. At that though, he's kicked out of play on the halfway line and punches the air in frustration. And Mitchell Roberts looking to mount an attack for City as we go into the last 30 seconds of the 90. Roberts finds Reece Fleet. Fleet in turn finds Kirby on the halfway line. Kirby, though, is going to be forced back again by the substitute Josh Smith. All the way back to Giles Phillips. Phillips finds Mitchell Roberts. Roberts, left-footed ball up over the halfway line. Good, lovely ball there to Andre Burley. And we've got 5 minutes of time added on here at the end of the second half, and there's 6 minutes in fact of time added on, and a attendance of 1,970 here at the Laithwaite Community Stadium on a pretty rotten night weather-wise. It's been blowing a gale and pretty wet. And 6 minutes between Oxford City and another National League defeat. Brzozowski just comes out of his goal to clear the ball out of play over the halfway line on the far side, and it's another throw to Woking. I wouldn't say that City are going through the motions here, but they look a beaten side. They look downtrodden. I thought that the body language on Saturday after that 3-2 defeat was really telling. Canis Carroll, one of the most positive players that you'll see, he was down, really down in the dumps, and I think Andy Ballard was as well, and you can't blame that, being 2-0 up, but this is a little bit of a hangover from that game, I think, and Woking on the prowl looking for a third, are they? With Casey, the skipper, out to substitute Josh Smith. Smith back into the substitute Oyaleki. Oyaleki finds Max Dyche. Dyche, beautiful crossfield pass to Kelly Evans. Kelly Evans finds Luke, who gets a good ball into the penalty area, and it flashes all the way across goal and past Brzozowski's right-hand post. Brzozowski's urging his players, his teammates, to get forward. He's going to pump this forward and see if City can get something in these dying moments, and if they can get a goal, we keep saying it, if they can get a goal in these dying minutes, it'll just lead to a little nerve-jangling finish for a Woking side that haven't won here since August. We don't want to keep labouring the point, but it looks as though that long wait for a home victory is going to be at an end, but there is still a little bit of a chance. Greenslade's looked pretty lively since coming on. He's into the penalty area, goes down under a challenge. Referee says no. The Oxford City supporters away in the huge stands to the right were crying out for a penalty there. A good number of them travelling around the M25 this evening, but no penalty given. Casey,
I think it would have been I think he caught him, but it would have been soft.
Yeah, it would have been soft, but we've seen them given. Oyaleki over to the far side to Dion Kelly. Evans on the right side finds Luca.
I'm going to say we've seen him given a few minutes ago.
Oyaleki, yeah. I think looking back at the replay, though, definitely did catch him.
I think he caught him. It just went over a little bit theatrically, which kind of fooled everyone. But when it rains, it pours. You need those decisions to go for you. The referee took a good look at it, eventually
I think the only reason City were really upset about it was the fact that it looked like he wasn't giving it, and then the ball was at the halfway line, and then he gave the penalty, which...
If we're completely honest, the referee's had a good game.
Yeah.
He's been... I don't think we can blame him. He's been consistent with his cards and everything, so I think it's clutching at straws to blame that decision, because even without the penalty, I think Woking would have probably gone on to even win this game.
One of the most ardent Oxford City fans who always moans at the referees. Every time I see him, he sent me a text message to say that was a clear penalty. So if that supporter thinks it was a clear penalty, I think it's fair enough to say it was. That looked like a foul throw to me there. Referee shakes his head. That was a foul throw. I'm sorry. Referee says no, carry on. But that is clutching at straws, really. Anyway, Mitchell Roberts, can City get something back? And into Ward's Rennie Smith is going to be a free kick.
You know what?
To Oxford City.
Greenslade's just gone down there, and you know what? He's been one of Oxford City's best players since coming on Greenslade. He's
looked lively, hasn't he?
Yeah,
he's looked lively.
I wonder if Ross Jenkins is there to change it up a bit. Maybe go for a formation with two strikers up front, because I think Greenslade playing off Josh Parker would work quite well, because he's been really energetic.
2 minutes to go, so City have a free kick about 10 yards outside the box, wide on the left hand side of the penalty area. Josh Ashby over it in his bright fluorescent yellow boots. He's going to curl this one in to the penalty area to see if City can get what will only surely be a consolation goal now. I hate using the phrase consolation goal, because they're still going to end up losing this game, so it's no real consolation. Ashby then with the free kick, right-footed. He has a crack from distance. Ironic cheers to the fans away to the right, because that's gone over the bar, and that really does sum up Oxford City's day. It's gone over the bar, didn't put any pressure on the goalkeeper, and Woking will now just run down the clock for this last minute, and they're going to hold on for what has been a comfortable win against a very poor Oxford City performance this evening.
Yeah, 1 minute to go. I reckon the referee could blow the whistle now, if I'm honest.
Throw the
don't
towel
think it's going to... But the positive for Oxford City is it's only 2, as bad as it sounds. But there is definitely food for thought for Ross Jenkins.
Absolutely.
He will not be a happy man at all. I think all too often he's seen this.
Yeah.
So it needs... he'll definitely be saying a few choice words at full time.
It'll be really interesting to hear his post-match thoughts, to be honest, because he can't really spin too many positives on this one. City still battling to try and get something. We're into the final few seconds. The referee, Ryan Atkin, looks at his watch a couple of times, and I think pretty much as soon as this ball is back in play, the referee's going to blow the final whistle. But in fact, play does carry on at the moment. Woking maybe looking for a third goal just to wrap it up, and there's a chance here, but the substitute Josh Smith put the ball through, but only managed to find the goalkeeper, Marcin Brzozowski. Referee looks at his watch again. Still no full-time whistle. We're into time added on at the end of stoppage time now. And there is the final whistle. Big cheer from the just shy of 2,000 crowd here at the Laithwaite Community Stadium, because they have picked up their first home victory since August, and it's against a very poor Oxford City performance. The final score here is Woking 2, Oxford City 0.
Kieran, Andy, thank you. Just wanted to pick up on a couple of the themes there. I mean, in many respects at half-time we were talking about a City team that had done well to hang in and only there at 1-0, but I was hoping that they'd come out and throw some punches, and they really didn't.
No, they didn't really. I mean, the goalkeeper had a couple of very simple sort of claims, didn't he, in the second half? A couple of shots at goal, but straight at the goalkeeper, but no real saves to make, if we're honest. And the penalty, I think, was a clear penalty, albeit maybe Ricky Corboa did make a bit of a middle, but no doubt that Andre Burley clipped his foot, so that's no issues there. My only concern with that was the fact that the referee allowed play to get back to the centre circle before he gave it, but that's clutching at straws a little bit. It's been a poor day, poor evening for Oxford City. I'm just looking at the body language. It really, again, similar to Saturday, looks a little bit down. You can't blame them. Nia Kirby looks a bit of a forlorn figure in the centre circle, hands on hips. They are going to go over to the hardy band of about 60 or so Oxford City supporters that made this trip round the M25. But the fact of the matter is, Jerome, they're now 6 points adrift of safety. They've got Dagenham away on Saturday, and that's going to be another incredibly tough game. And the games then start becoming really difficult. Southend coming to the Royal Charging Stadium Saturday week. There's some tough games ahead. And I think City are running out of time. And based on today's performance, that was probably as flat as I've seen them this season.
We'll try and get some reaction from the boss, Ross Jenkins, before we close at 10 o'clock tonight. For the moment, gents, thank you. It's BBC Radio Oxford Sports, 17 minutes to 10 right now. So let's update you with what's been going on elsewhere while we've been concentrating on that Woking game against Oxford City. And let's check in first of all with Colin Ride at Tame United's ground at the ASM Stadium, where Tame have been playing Waltham Abbey. 5 goals in the first half. What's happened subsequently? Colin, what have you got?
Full time is Tame United 2, Waltham Abbey 4. Waltham Abbey were 2-0 up after 20 minutes. Both goals scored by Jason Harris on 15 and 20 minutes. Oscar Lucy got one back for Tame on the half hour, firing home a fierce shot. And Tame centre-back Finley Murray got Tame's equaliser 40 minutes. But Asher Silverman put Waltham Abbey 3-2 up on the stroke of half-time, putting the visitors ahead after the first 45. With the howling gale behind them in the second half, Waltham Abbey extended their lead on the hour. Benjamin Baker putting them 4-2 up. Tame's Harry Alexander had a fierce shot saved in 70 minutes as Tame continued to battle hard in absolutely atrocious weather conditions. Waltham Abbey's Ashley Silverman got a straight red card in the deep of the second half, though, after some ugly scenes in the centre circle. Tame's Ethan Lake also got a yellow card for his troubles. Tame tried hard to make the man advantage pay with some really good late pressure, but Waltham Abbey stayed solid at the back to back all 3 points. It's finished here. Tame United 2, Waltham Abbey 3, Jerome.
Thank you, Colin, for your work this afternoon. More big games coming up for Tame United, including a game against Northlea at the weekend. We'll cover that one for you as well here at BBC Radio Oxford. 9:45. Let's go to League One then. No game for Oxford United tonight. Results elsewhere, not the end of the world for United. Bristol Rovers 0, Fleetwood 2. Bristol Rovers have been just off the pace in terms of trying to get into the playoffs. They have had a difficult start to the year, but their game against Oxford United with one bright spot, really. 2-0 win for the Lancashire side on the road, who seem to be able to turn it on Tuesday nights down south. As I mentioned earlier on, Burton against Cheltenham never started, match postponed there. Cambridge against Bolton Wanderers abandoned after 11 minutes. Peterborough United, leading at struggling Exeter, have been beaten tonight by 2-1. Exeter turning it around with 2 goals in the last 15 minutes against a Peterborough side that had a player sent off just after half-time. Full time, this is a big one. Stevenage 0, Reading 1. Now, Oxford United supporters might, under normal circumstances, tut at that, but with Stevenage just a point above Oxford United at the start of the day's play, that is a really positive result for the U's. It keeps United in touch with Stevenage. And Port Vale 0, Leyton Orient 1. Andy Crosby sacked as Port Vale manager yesterday. No change there. Leyton Orient aren't completely done as a team that thinks they might be able to make the playoffs. A goal on the hour giving them the victory in the Potteries tonight. No games in League 2. Walsall against Morecambe was postponed because of a waterlogged pitch. Here are the other results tonight in the National League. Dagenham 1, Chesterfield 2. Halifax 1, Solihull 3. Finished 1-1 between Gateshead and Eastleigh. Maidenhead United won 1-0 at Wealdstone tonight. And as we've been hearing, Woking 2, Oxford City 0 was the result. So to the FA Cup then, and here's what's been happening tonight. Sheffield Wednesday playing at Coventry in a replay of a match that was drawn at Hillsborough. Coventry, you'll remember the side that knocked Oxford United out in round 3. So this 4th round replay went like this.
Diaby on the ball now, but he's just possessed. And coming away with it is O'Hare. Good ball to Palmer on the edge of the area, trying to find room for the shot, which he does. And Coventry City take the lead in the 3rd minute. Casey Palmer scores against Sheffield Wednesday. in a fixture which has caused him much angst and distress. Picked up by Wednesday on the edge of the area. Good tackle by Sakamoto, but it's back with the corner taker Volks. He goes for the first time cross. That's clear. Hits a couple of Sky Blues players, and the rebound is turned in by Sheffield Wednesday, and they've equalised. A little unlucky. Jay Silver infield quickly to Palmer. He turns. He thinks about his shot. He thinks again. Then he plays it to O'Hare. He shoots and scores. Callum O'Hare again. Set up by Casey Palmer, and O'Hare's rich vein of goal scoring. De Silva now. O'Hare picks it up and shoots and scores. That is absolutely sublime from Callum O'Hare. De Silva gave him the ball, and he just... Great ball from Eccles after De Silva on the left wing. The Sky Blues really ramping it home now, and they're 4-1 ahead as Haji Wright heads in to Silva's cross, and Coventry City are cruising here at the Coventry Building Society Arena. Wright, who had a tough first half, gets the striker's goal in the second. It's the Sky Blues 4, Sheffield Wednesday 1.
Clive Eakin commentating. So 3 goals in 7 second half minutes, helping Coventry through to a home tie against Maidstone United. So Coventry are really looking well placed for a place in the quarterfinals, the 1987 winners, of course. Plymouth against Leeds has gone like this tonight.
Wright doesn't get it. Byron does. Dummy into Joseph. Kamara edge of the penalty area. Gnonto with the shot! 2 in 2 for Gnonto, and has the man whose career is on the rise again at Ellen Road put Leeds into the 5th round. The travelling fans celebrate with Gnonto. His team free kick goes to the back post. Equaliser over the top of Melier, bent in on that right side, and sadly for Leeds United, they've been caught out. Long ball looping in over the top, and Galloway arriving and then played back across goal. And it was such an easy goal as the big centre-back comes in, turns it, might have took a deflection on the way in, and suddenly, like they were at Ellen Road, they're back level late on in the game.
So that's gone to extra time, but Leeds have just gone 2-1 in front at Home Park in that game. Southampton 3, Watford 0 is a result. Southampton through to a 5th round tie at Anfield against Liverpool after a late equaliser at Watford and then a comfortable win against their fellow Championship side tonight. Scottish Premiership result: Motherwell 5, Ross County 0, and very late on at Ibrox, Rangers 2, Aberdeen 1. There was an equaliser for Neil Warnock's new side, but Rangers back in front, as I say, not long to go in that one. BBC Radio Oxford Sport, Woking 2, Oxford City 0, the result in our commentary game tonight, and really tough for City to take as they are adrift at the bottom of the table, 3 points, and adrift as far as safety is concerned, 6 points after this.
Nia Kirby tied us up, but then loses out to Jaden Luca. Luca's in here down the right hand side. He finds Ricky Kaboa. Chance here on the edge of the penalty area, and it's a goal for Woking. And it's the first goal, and it's Jaden Luca from the edge of the box. Marcin Brzozowski was clutching at thin air, and from 18 yards out, it's the first goal. And in some ways it was coming. It's Woking 1, Oxford City 0.
Free kick goes to the back post.
So 1-0 in that game. Oxford City really were up against it. We thought we might get more from them in the second half. We didn't.
There may be a chance here for Woking. Brilliantly cut inside by Corboa. Referee makes he puts a whistle to his lips. Oh, he's given a penalty. Well, the referee stopped for a second, and he looked as though that he was going to book Corboa for diving. He let the game continue, but as soon as the game did continue, he blew the whistle. So Walker against Brzozowski. Blows the whistle. Walker steps up to take it, takes a couple of steps and sends Brzozowski the wrong way, and Woking do have a 2-goal lead.
And that's the way it finished. We'll try and get some reaction for you from the Oxford City camp before we close at 10 o'clock tonight. Some cricket news for you. Brendan McCullum, the England head coach, says fans are going to be in for a treat in the rest of the Test series against India if the matches are as good as the first two. The 5-match series tied at 1-1. England now are having a break in Abu Dhabi before returning to the third Test, which begins in Rajkot on Thursday week, the 15th of February. McCullum's been speaking to the BBC Stefan Schmelit about this.
How do you reflect on what's happened over these first couple of weeks of a long tour? It was an astonishing win in Hyderabad, and you've pushed India close in Visakhapatnam.
Yeah, look, I think both teams will be really pleased with how they've played over the last couple of weeks. Sometimes when you head into a big series, or as I keep alluding to, a heavyweight fight, you sort of, there's a little bit of an unknown of how it's going to play out. I think what we've seen over the last 2 test matches is that both teams are going to give as good as what they get, and I'm sure that everyone around the world that's supported the series so far has been totally entertained and enthralled by the contest. 1-1 is probably a fair reflection of where it sits at the moment. If the next 3 test matches are anything like these last 2, then it's going to be one hell of a series, and I'm sure we're going to continue to impress people around the world. So we'll see how it lands in the end, but we're looking forward to it.
What have you learned, maybe as an individual or as a team, over the past 2 weeks that you can take forward into the last 3 tests?
Look, obviously the development of our young spinners has been fantastic. Not just their skill set, but also their character and their passion to want the big moments in games. I think we've seen that different methods of attacking with the bat have certainly worked for us on certain occasions, and we've just got to keep adapting those to whatever the conditions are.
Brendan McCullum, the England head coach in cricket. Let's hear from the Oxford City head coach in football after defeat tonight at Woking. He's with Kieran.
Ross, 2-0, disappointing evening.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We've beat them, they've beat us. First half, I thought it was a real scrappy game, but they had a bit more quality than us. So give them credit where it's due. They were a little bit better in possession. Their press was really good. Second half, we had a good 20 minutes at the end, and shape change caused them a few issues, but yeah, wasn't meant to be tonight. So, we beat them at our place and they beat us here. So that's football, and that's the way things go.
At 1-0, key moment was the penalty being given. It looked like a possible slight clip, maybe a little bit soft, but that potentially was the turning point in the game, because 2-0 down with 30 minutes to go, it's a long way back, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought the officials made a bit of a hash of it. Referee looked like he was going to give a dive, and then he turns around and the liner who gives it, who is probably not in a better position than the ref. They're definitely sure it's a penalty, so we'd have to look at that. But yeah, that's a moment that we need to do better. Our defending as a back three today wasn't very good. Compared to Kidderminster, I thought we were pretty good in the back line, but we took a gamble today. Kenneth Carroll's fitness, it's come round and bit us back. We asked boys to be honest and be as honest as possible, and today it looked like he was carrying an injury, which he was, so quite deflating. We had to make a change in the back line, but I thought Giles came on and was really good, really strong, won his duels and passed the ball properly, and we got into a little bit more momentum second half with that. So yeah, it is what it is. Frustrating, of course, but at the end of the day, it's a game of football. The boys need to realise that we need to analyse it quickly. We've now got training Thursday night to go through it, and that's what we do. We will stick to what we believe in. We've got to, it's got to be uncomfortable at times to analyse each performance, but it's the only way you get better.
Looking at the table now, I know we're only in February, but 6 points now away from the safety zone. Dagenham coming up on Saturday. You need a reaction. You had a reaction previously when you've had sort of bad runs. You need that on Saturday, and there's no reason why you can't go to Dagenham and pick up some points there. Yeah, I mean, the boys have got to have a good look at themselves tonight, though. Too many 80% performances. There was a couple in there who gave everything. I think Reece Fleet, Josh Ashby gave everything they can. I thought Jacob as well, give everything he possibly could and laid it all out there. So Andre joining in, we can only ask that from the boys, but we were still short in areas, and their press was really good and they made it uncomfortable. But at the same time, we're better than that. We are better than that. And if the boys think they're going to have a day off in the National League, then you're going to get punished. It's the fact of the league. It's a harsh league, and if you don't turn up, you do get punished. And tonight, some of us did, but some of us didn't. Looking at the second half, you certainly had more possession second half, but didn't really test the goalkeeper. Is that a bit of frustration for you, because you got into some good positions there, but the only couple of shots that were at goal were straight at the keeper? Yeah, I think just decision making, and I think that's the higher you go up in the leagues, that's you pay the big bucks for, is the decision making of the player. Physically, the boys could go play in the league. They're fit group, but the decision making is where the big boys earn their money, and we're having weak shots, shots that are unrealistic to go in on weaker foots, and that's where we are. The good chance for Rennie to cut back for Ashby. He take the wrong opportunity and he has a shot instead, which doesn't really faze the goalie. So we created a couple chances, put a couple balls across the box, but at the bottom line is we didn't put
enough pressure on the goalie or cause them enough problems. And I think that's coming down to, one, being clinical, and two, probably taking the wrong decision.
Do your players still have the belief that you can get out of this situation and still get above that drop zone?
Yeah, I mean, they have to. That's their job. They've got to have belief, and if they don't have to turn up. So I think the boys know the standards. If you're not going to contribute, don't turn up. We ain't got time for that. Even last season, boys had to contribute to get to where we are now, and everyone needs to contribute. So I think a lot of boys in the group can walk out with their heads held high today, 3 or 4 players, and the rest of them, you need to sort of look yourself in the mirror sometimes and go, did I do enough? And we'll do it as coaches, staff and management team. Could we have tweaked the shape early? Could we have played someone else? We always analyse ourselves, but I think the most important thing is that we address this game and not brush it under the table. And it will be uncomfortable for the boys. The video meeting will be uncomfortable for some, but I think that will show who comes out of it, who has the right character. I think if you go under and you start pointing fingers, which I know the boys don't, but it will show a real character Thursday night going through it, because today we weren't there and we weren't at it, and it's really disappointing. Some of the boys have been at work all day, to then play like that is hard.
Ross, thank you very much. Cheers.
So.
That's Kieran Bushnell there with Ross Jenkins, the manager of Oxford City. Tonight in Surrey, it's finished 2-0 to Woking, and Oxford City rooted to the bottom of the table. They go again on Saturday, Dagenham and Redbridge. You can hear that game live on the BBC Sport website and app and on BBC Sounds. And as they were both suggesting there, it now becomes a really critical game. Oxford United away at Blackpool. That's our radio commentary for you on Saturday afternoon. My thanks to Carla, who's been producing the programme tonight, and to you for your company. We'll see you at the weekend. And from all of us at BBC Radio Oxford Sport, good night.